Alrighty. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. What is up, folks? How you doing? Good to see you all on this lovely Monday. It is Monday, right? Is it Monday? Monday. It's Monday. All right, cool. Sorry, I'm all kinds of thrown off. It's been a weird day. How y'all doing? Welcome in, everybody. How's our, I just realized I'm like downloading a game. My computer's currently downloading Star Wars Outlaws, so I wanted to make sure it's not lagging up the stream. But I think we're looking okay. Welcome in, notification gang. Good to see you all. Always a happy day to see the friendly names in chat as we get started on this lovely day of talking. Whole bunch of talking. It's a Monday. So talking is what we're doing. Is it Dog Day today? International Dog Day? Because I got an international dog in my front yard. Shout out to Tommy. Tommy girl. Holding it down out there. Folks. It's good to be back. It's good to be back. I mean, I'm not, like I wasn't away. It's just the weekend. I just took a day off, but you know, whatever. It's good to be back after a day off. How y'all doing? What's up, Lagger? 07's buddy Zoster, Vastin with the dancing. Vastin, I see you striving to keep the people dancing, moving their feet. Mrs. Tomato is going to be busy for the next couple of streams. She'll be in and out, of course. She says hello, of course. Good love, big loves to you all. Big hearts and all that jazz. But her cousin's in town, so she is busy hosting. Just put together a huge spread for dinner. And we had some like 2000s pop playing in the background while we were eating dinner. Gosh, those music videos are so, like, you can just tell when they came out. They're all so similar to each other. Let's just get a bunch of people in a group with some half clothed bodies doing a dance all together. Perfect. Good. Now cut away. Now cut away. Now more dancing. Now cut away. It's like R&B and pop music to the T. 2000s. But it takes me back. It's a lot of nostalgia. I like it. Vargan, welcome in. Billy Two Names. How you doing, Brigadier? Brigadier. Drazen, what's up, dude? With the Mrs. Tomato gun shooting emote in the chat. The one that took a little bit longer to get approved for reasons, obviously. How you doing? How you doing? Welcome in. Luna Maria, good to see you. Howdy. The time for waiting is over. The time for waiting is over. Except not entirely, which is probably what we're going to talk about Star Citizen today. Because we're always waiting with Star Citizen, right? It's always good to see you. Your Monday morning routine is sacred, intact. As long as you have the tea. I hope you have tea to go with your lovely Monday morning. Have I tried the latest PTU patch? Not quite yet. No, maybe we'll check it out today while we're chatting. See how it performs. Jaybird, you just got a new puppy yesterday? Yo, congratulations. Hey, I just saw you on the comments of a video I was watching. Showing the love to Kyosa. Good for you. Show that community love. Kangaroo! Hello! 07's buddy. Reviews on Outlaws is 50-50, so it's not good nor bad. I don't know, I'm seeing it, I'm seeing like around 7 to 8 out of 10 on scores. But I guess 50-50 mean like some are negative, some are positive. Hello, Dennis. Came to get some good content while you work. Oh, you're in for a treat. I don't know what that content's gonna be just yet, but it's gonna be good. Question. How dare Space Tomato and Mrs. Tomato be so awesome? Abdi, I don't know if that's a question, but I'll take it. I'll accept it. We'll go with it. Can somebody give Abdi a shout out, please? My man over here with the art. The spaceship and the art. Combining for space art. Ooh. Art ship? Art ship sounds better. Let's go with that. Artax, how you doing? Good to see you. Adam. Rage. Tiny Home. Welcome in. Turtle Tommy. Yo. I didn't know we had a Turtle Tommy. Welcome in, everybody. The Red Bed, hi. How you doing? Super happy that the Terrapin is getting a paint this year. Yeah, I got the Ship Showdown in a thingy tab over here. And the Terrapin has indeed moved forward to the next stage. Look at you. Look at you, old turtle, you. And the Reclaimer, I believe, is... Yeah, the Reclaimer's walking away with today's. Ends in about 23 minutes. What comes next? The Siulen versus the F8C. Oh, I wonder what will win that. Who knows? Echo, thank you for the shout out. Super Nightman, how you doing? Sofer, good to see you. 07s. Ownith things at work. Not watching some good content and hi. Now watching some good content. Thought you meant like you were previously not, and now you are. Which, you know, basically you said now you are, so. I kind of read it right. Mrs. Tomato, still dropping in the chat. Look at her multitasking and stuff. Lagerman, thank you for the sub, by the way. Appreciate you coming in at 3 months. Subbed up now. You're a homie and then one, you know that? Thanks for the support. And Billy Two Names, thank you for the bits as well. Good people, good people. We got a business tomat here because we mean business today. We're going to be talking today about Star Citizen. I'm going to be fielding any questions you guys have. Exclamation point question, or that's not it. It's question in brackets. That's how. It's really easy for me to catch the questions and make sure I don't miss any if you put them in brackets. But otherwise, besides that, really, I'm probably going to find something that interests me from the last couple of months that they've published. And we'll just look at, you know, recent news and what's been going on. I think, did we go over the roadmap roundup from last week? I actually don't know. I don't think we did, so maybe we can include that as well. And, you know, we're just chilling today. It's a good old day. After today, on Wednesday, I'll probably try doing some Star Wars Outlaws. Maybe, we'll see. I'm going to be playing it tomorrow to work on a little video about it. And if I do really like it and I feel like I should show you guys some more of it, then we'll do some of that on Wednesday. But for today, you know, it's same old, same old. Jonathan, haven't tuned in a while. Studio looks great. Dude, isn't it magnificent? This is Tomato lit it up. And we got stuff from different parts of the community up in here. I haven't done the, we haven't brought anything down from here in a little while. This is from Echo. It's a piece of a satellite. Except it's not the piece, obviously, that's on the satellite. That one's up, that one's in space. But a cool little piece nonetheless. Thank you for that, dude. We got, here's a coin from Armco. That's Morphologist community. He gave that to me at CitizenCon last year. And here is, this also I got at CitizenCon. This is from the Saber Ravens Club. You can see it's got the Saber Raven on it. So, like, this is our wall of community. And basically, if you ever gift us anything that is non-perishable, because somebody did give me a tomato last year at CitizenCon, which I kept as long as I could, but it's hard to fly with a tomato. It'll go up on the wall. And we'll, you know, bring it down every once in a while to say, what's up to the stuff? So thank you for that. Anybody who's gifted those out. Makes me feel like a real one. I got stuff on the wall and blue lights in the background. Real streamer energy now. Turtle Tommy, dude. Thank you for the sub. 12 freaking months. Turtle Tommy on YouTube, but different on Twitch. Okay, you're Turtle Tommy Gaming on Twitch. I got you. Dude, I appreciate your support. And I freaking love the name. Please never lose that name. It's a stabilization flexure from the Nancy Grace Roman telescope. It is not, indeed, it is not from a satellite. It's from a telescope. Thank you, Echo. Sorry, my space nerd failed me there. This delay isn't something new to SC. They are doing this constantly. We do get a lot of delays with Star Citizen. That is very true. Where you can't see your YouTube bestie. She said hello on Twitch. Where is she on YouTube? I guess Twitch is probably easier to pop up on the mobile phone. Mrs. Tomato, we need you on YouTube. Come to us. You're almost complete your master grade Extreme Gundam Strike Freedom. What? Is that an in-game thing, or are you painting a Gundam? Does your obsession for SC News make you a masochist? You know, just being a part of the community really kind of validates you for that. And that's okay. We're all in it together. Culting it up, as they say. I was scrolling, I saw some recent feedback on myself. Somebody was talking about where they get different news for Star Citizen, and they said that I was too optimistic because I talk about gameplay that is coming further on in the future. And I was like, how the do I avoid that? The gameplay that we think's coming in a month ends up coming in 3 years. It's not my fault. But yeah, I am optimistic. I don't think it's for covering stuff that's coming in the future, but I am certainly optimistic on this game. You feel the same delays are not disappointing or shocking to you. They are expected. You're still excited by what you're seeing. I have a video that I am writing. Actually, I've already written it. I've recorded it, and it is now starting to be edited. It should be coming out later this week, and it's about the recent delays to Star Citizen. It is about why people are disappointed, and it's also about what kind of possibilities we might see with 4.0 coming out. It's not for any of you. You guys are in the know. You're plugged in. You come to these streams. Like, if you're here, you know what's going on. This one is for the casuals, the normies, the people who might be a little bit confused by all this stuff going on. Believe it or not, a lot of people care about Star Citizen, but don't look at it every single week. So I'm working on a video that's kind of explaining the whole situation right now. You can almost call it a follow-up to that video I made at the beginning of the month. It's like is Star Citizen dying? That stupid clickbait bullshit. And it'll probably it's probably gonna get me some decent criticism from both sides of the park. People who are used to the delays and accept them and don't really care about them, and the people who are angry about the delays and want them to stop, because it's definitely a roller coaster of a video. I go into why we get delays, I go into why people don't like delays, and then I go into why it doesn't really matter because we're gonna get delays and we still want a freaking good space game, and unfortunately this is currently the best way to get it. That being said, like, somebody else could always come along and do what Star Citizen is doing. I'm sure there is something out there being worked on in the dark, in the quiet, in the normal development world that is doing something similar to Star Citizen, and maybe they get there first. I don't think they'll get to what Star Citizen is doing first, because this is insane, and nobody's going to try to do this. It's too much, as it's been proven, but I think there's always the chance that somebody else could come along and deliver that space fantasy that people want before Star Citizen does. The fact that that hasn't happened yet is testament to how difficult it is. And, you know, CIG could obviously have gone about it in better ways. Could have gone about it in worse ways. But I think there's something to be said about the fact that you still can't really get a match for what they're trying to do. And again, I do think there are better ways they could have done it. Focusing more on space, not including all the planet tech at first, probably could have helped them out a lot, but the game wouldn't be as expansive as it is now. Focusing on just Squadron 42 and not Star Citizen might have worked, but they probably wouldn't have gotten as much funding. Focusing on just the Persistent Universe and not Squadron 42, that probably could have worked a lot better, actually. So there's a lot to be said about that, but at the end of the day, there's tons of space games that come out every year. Is my camera frozen on screen? Is it frozen? Hello, camera. Hey, are you frozen? I don't look frozen. Maybe I am. Maybe my computer is setting me up and making me look like a goofball. Looks fine to you? There are plenty of good space games out there. Everspace, Starfield, Elite Dangerous, freaking Astroneer, No Man's Sky, like all these different things are able to be played that offer some form of space experience, and they all do things slightly differently. Different, unique, different, fun. Like, every single game is somebody's favorite, so it's not to say that there's no game that's going to take away from Star Citizen, but I think that this game has its place in the market, and there's a reason that a lot of people are still following it, even though there are a lot of delays. Rage, thank you for the 1,000 bits, bro. Appreciate you. Feathers, you like the project for its ambition? Yeah, it's good fun. Yeah, X4 is another good one. Great single-player space game. I hope they can improve their graphics at some point. Of course, they don't want to delay 4.0 for 2025. Yeah, I mean, they don't want to delay 4.0 for... Okay, I think I said it on Saturday's stream, or maybe it was during the podcast this week. I don't know. By the way, if you haven't seen it, I just had a podcast with Casa Black Gaming. Hey, look at that. Just to freaking show you how much I listen to my own stuff. I don't, but YouTube likes to suggest it to me either way. I'm going to drop this in the chat, and I'm not going to look at the comments because I know these comments are they're going to go hard. Me and Casa Black Gaming got together and looked at the progress tracker and roadmap, the development overall, what's been going on with it, and we made a whole bunch of hot takes and educated guesses on what's going on and what's going to continue to go on, and commentary on that. So if you want a good talk, I would check that out. Podcast happens every week. If you're a Twitch subscriber, YouTube channel member, you can come and watch it live. But I think this is a good one to listen to if you're kind of wondering what the heck is happening with the game. Or, since you're here, you can ask a question. They need to complete mechanics and not leave them at T0. Need to fix all the collision models. It's alpha. Alpha is where you fix all these things. Yeah. But, after you actually give us the features. I agree, I don't want things at tier 0 anymore. But at the same time, I also want them to do everything. So if you can do both CIG, I'd love that. But if they have to pick one or the other, I'd prefer we get as many features as possible and then build on them, then focus on like what they did with mining. Mining came in 2018, and then it was the only profession that got worked on for 3 or 4 years. I would not want that with everything, imagine if they brought in salvage and then they worked on salvage for 3 years and then they worked on cargo. Then they worked on cargo for 3 years and then they worked on engineering and then they worked on engineering for 3 years. That would suck. So if you can figure out a way to do both, that'd be great. Otherwise, though, keep on bringing in the stuff. Keep on keeping on, Master grades are Gundam models we assemble, and Master Grade Extreme takes it to the extreme. I need to know these things. Well, you are my source for this information. Continue to educate me. Master Grade Extremes. I'll store that away. Did I look at For the Stars? I have not. Haven't even heard of it. You haven't played in months, Commander Aries. This is your captain speaking. Tomato will be with you shortly. This year by their best guess. Wait, I completely just missed what I was saying because Morphologist rated us with $188 doopy peoples. What is up? Hello, folks. Good to see you. Welcome. I'm a tomato. I'm actually a human, but I'm also a tomato. Space tomato, some might call me. Thank you for dropping in. Morph, thank you for dropping in with your folks. We will keep them entertained, but it might not be as entertaining as you had them. Dude, you were playing Star Wars, yeah? How was it? How'd it go? What'd it do? What'd it be? Is it good? Is it fun? Did you have fun? Were you joyful? I don't think any of the normal avenues will ever make a game like Star Citizen because they rely on publishers, and publishers don't give a shit about making games. They only care about profit. Some publishers get it. I would say Coffee Stain is pretty good. I was gonna say Embracer, but that's the opposite direction. I think 2K does okay as a publisher in some ways. But yeah, a lot of publishers are a little whack, a little money hungry. You thought CIG was focused on RSI, but now they are dropping Misk and Crusader hints. Can we trust them to do anything they say? I mean, they are focusing on RSI. I assume that's why the Polaris is coming out, but they're still making smaller ships. I don't think that the Crusader or Misk stuff is going to be capital class ships. When they said they were focusing on RSI, that was the big ship stuff. Morphew, enjoying it? Dude, I can't wait to play. I've got it downloading. I'm excited for it. Hooded Horse, that's right. Yeah, they also do pretty good. Hooded Horse is doing Manor Lords. They're doing Falling Frontier. They do okay. Devolver Digital, yeah, they're good people. Dude, well, I am glad to hear that you're enjoying Outlaws. I am looking forward to a non-Jedi experience. That's what gets me. That's what gets me. If you tell me it's in Star Wars and there's no Force, I'm like, hey, how can I find out more? So I look forward to playing that at some point this week. Oh, crap. I think I just zip-tied my thumb. Oh, Jesus. I'm an idiot. I just put a zip tie on my thumb and it's too tight. Why did I do that? Oh my God. That was really dumb. I think there's scissors on the other side of the room. I'll have to... This is why I try to keep my hands free and not fidget with things because, stupid decisions. This patch feels much better, but the new Skybot stops you from enjoying it. No joke. What do you got against green? Do I think 324 will go to the live servers this week? It's possible. God, this is incredibly annoying. I'm gonna go get some scissors. One quick minute. Good. No, we can't have nice things. Like, who does that? Who does that? All right, hit me with your questions though. Come on. Let's get started. Give me a question to go off of, and then I'll pull up a video or a reference or something, and we'll just go from there. Get the heck off of my thumb, please. Oh, it's so tight the scissors won't fit in there. Wow, that's don't take that out of context. There we go. We're good. We're safe. Need some adult supervision. That's why y'all are here. I am smart. I'm smart. EA and Activision are the bestest publishers. You wish they would both publish SC and then they would release it tomorrow. They would have released it like 8 years ago. Oh, jeez. I mean, EA does kind of okay with some of their games. Man, I'm really disappointed though with what they did with the Frostbite engine, just forcing it into a whole bunch of different games that didn't need the Frostbite engine. Like, Mass Effect. Hey, Morph, thank you so much for dropping by again, dude. I appreciate you coming through with the raid. I hope you had a good stream, buddy. We shall talk again. Wondering how the land claiming works for those who didn't purchase the original sale. Will it be available in hand for purchase? Yes. The people who purchased land claims originally will not have any benefit over people who have not. They'll just have the ability to fly to the place without having to go get it in the game first, the land claim. And I'm betting that the way that the land claims work, probably just be able to get that land claim right there anyways, you know? Like, I don't think having bought it before is going to do anything to benefit you other than the fact that you bought a land claim. Yay! Do I think that CIG should address the elephant that will most likely be sitting in the room that is 4.0 at CitizenCon if it does not release by then? I think, yeah. Actually, that's something that I go over in my video coming out this week. That they getting 4.0 out to Evocati at the very least before CitizenCon would really help with them not having to talk about it at CitizenCon, which would be great. Because nobody wants to hear about 4.0 at CitizenCon again. Like, we want to hear what's after that. We want to see 4.0, experience it, so that we can move past it. And I think that if they got it to the PTU, that would really help them out. Best hot chocolate. Holidays are approaching. I had some amazing hot chocolate in Belgium, and I couldn't tell you what the brand was. It was just at some place that serves hot chocolate, which they're really good at that up there. They got great chocolate. If I see you type MG followed by a cool name, the MG means master grade, and you now know I'm speaking of Gundam models. Gotcha. I'm probably going to end up thinking that means model Gundam or something. Any thoughts on what the mystery ships are? Well, let me pull up. Okay, let's pull up this. Wrong browser. Let's pull up the sneak peek. Everybody keeps talking about a Misk ship, and I have yet to see. Hey, it's Morph. And drop a like on that. Hey, it's also Paul and my wife, but we're looking for a, here we go, reliably on my front page. Let's see what this sneak peek is. Everybody keeps talking about Misk ships. What did they show us? Wow, I am so far behind. Where is this? Did they even put it on their Twitter? Did they just not? How long ago was this? Was it in the email or something? Am I missing that? Hold on. Now I gotta pull up my email, which I should not do on stream. That'd be a bad call. Lakey Sneaky, the Sneaky Peekly. Here it is. Okay, yeah, that is definitely Misk. It's hard to mistake it for anything else. I am getting hydraulics, right? This looks kind of like the Freelancer's landing gear hydraulics. Oh, a little bit of fuselage here. This. Oh, you know what this is? This is the top-down shot, huh? This is the hangar floor in the back. It does look a lot like a Freelancer. I would love if it was an Expanse, but I kind of doubt that. I heard, I think it was Casablack said during the, oh, let me give you a good look. Casablack said during the podcast that people were thinking it was a Freelancer Mark II. Now I want to say they're not going to do that. CIG, don't make somebody clip this and have me regret this later. But the only reason we got a Hornet Mark II was because it was always part of the plan when that ship released. I'm not going to pull it up now, but there is a video from like 2017, 2018 maybe, where they specifically were talking about the fact that the you know what? I don't even have to pull that up separately. It's on my, oh God, where did I post it though? I'd have to scroll back really far. If we go all the way back to June tweets, I think we could find the video. Toes. What is with my sound? It's all the way back here. But there is a video, I believe, of them saying that the Hornet specifically was supposed to have, oh, this is May. We went way back. Supposed to have an MK2, a Mark II. And that is for that ship specifically. It's not something they're going to start doing with a whole bunch of different ships. I think I've already spent too much time looking for this. That guy's face. All right, I'm over it. It's out there somewhere, though. They talk about the fact that the Hornet is specifically supposed to have a Mark I and Mark II because of how the military works and all that jazz. The Freelancer doesn't really have a reason for that. I think it's a Freelancer Mini. Gold standard Freelancer. It'd be really weird if they didn't put the if they didn't gold standard the Freelancer when they updated it for engineering But maybe they did. Like, maybe they did gold standard it since we haven't gotten engineering yet. Let's see. I need a top-down look at this ship. Here we go. Whoops. God dang it. Not on that window. Ah, jeez. There we go. Okay. So, what would this be? No, it's not the same kind of connection. And I know this is a Freelancer Misk. This actually is the old model. Do they have the new model here anywhere? Come on, give me a top-down shot. No, that's an old one. There's not really many great looks at that connection. Somebody must have done this in game already though, right? People mentioned the Odyssey. Just imagine if they suddenly came out with a Misk capital ship after all this. Yeah, no, the connection is not the same. This is different. It looks smaller. Like you guys are saying, maybe a mini Freelancer kind of thing. Obviously not a mini Freelancer. But it kind of has the look of the Freelancer, I mean. Do I think that after this 324 patch, they will go straight into pyro testing? That is another thing I mentioned in my video. If they went right into pyro testing, if they got 4.0 into Evocati, that'd be huge. And that's really the most important thing to look at after 324 goes live is what happens with the PTU. Does it get used for 4.0? Does 4.0 continue to wait? Because that would be like, that's the big tell. If 4.0 goes into testing in September, that's much bigger than, you know, oh, this patch might come out in December and it's not going into Evocati until November or late October or something. What do I think about the unverified contracts and how about the outlaw gameplay that could exist? I think the unverified contracts are a little bit weird. I would hope that you'd have to do something a bit more. Oh, here's the video itself. This is all I have done for it right now though, which is not much. I think the unverified here's the script after recording. And here's the thumbnail. Wow, my computer, no wonder it gets so angry at me. I think that it'd be cool if you had to unlock the unverified contracts in some way. It's a little weird that people just suddenly get sent unverified contracts as completely normal human beings. Yet a quick question, not sure if this has been mentioned, but in the ship showdown, will the semifinals to champion receive new paints or just finals to champion? I hear it's the quarterfinals to champions. So basically anybody who gets in at this point, anybody who is past this stage, semifinals, not quarterfinals, any of these ships get a skin, from what I'm hearing. What's up, Diz Troy? Hopefully it was purpose other than carrying cargo. Would really love if it was the Expanse. What's the huge opening on the side? Giant side door? Huge opening on the side? This? Had a discussion about it on Soul Citizens. Believe it is a Freelancer variant. Can I say VTOLs? Would be interesting. Here's a little maneuvering thruster over here. Yeah, it's probably a new Misk small ship. When's the last time we saw a small Misk ship? It's actually been a decent while, I think. Misk ships. They've got the Hull series, Expanse, Starfarer, Prospector, Freelancer, Reliant. That's it. If you think about it, if you take out the variants, there aren't a ton of ships from Misk, especially not in the smaller range. A Misk ship that's meant to compete with like the Cutlass Black or the Crusader C1, that I don't could understand that. The Reliant is a little bit too unique of a ship for it to be like a general purpose offering from Misk. So I could see them wanting to do something slightly bigger than the Reliant with a little bit of an interior and a little less unique. That makes it easier for them to balance. Don't see why not. Yeah, something flexible like that. You've been ignored. Might have missed your message. What did you say, brother named Anansi? Oh, what? Did you change your name? Anansi? What the heck? They have not talked about the Odyssey, nor was it listed in the tracker. And it's too big. Oh, maybe... Oh, I see. Maybe they changed the connection to remove the VTOL insinuation. Can I pull up a whole B? Sure. Think it might be a whole B. I think that's a little diminishing returns for them if they made the whole B right now. We don't really have any pictures of it either. I don't see what part of the whole B it could be. Yeah, the whole B doesn't really have any wings like that. Although they could very easily change the model itself. Maybe this in collapsed form? I don't know. I'm not seeing it. It was probably the same as the previous interior leak they did, yeah. What are my thoughts on CIG's contradictory... By the way, folks, if you put brackets question before your questions, it'll make it a lot easier for me to pick them out. What are my thoughts on CIG's contradictory expectation that players endure combat while expecting players to endure death of a spaceman? SC paints a hazardous gameplay environment. I don't think they expect people to endure combat. I think that the goal is for them to efficiently warn people where combat will be and then give people the tools to not go into those areas where there will be combat. Oh, look at that. You know what? Man, I'm tempted to vote Sulin. I'll vote Sulin. Whoo, Jesus. The F8's taking it. Look at that. Holy crap. That's not even close already. We'll see what happens, though. Yeah, I don't think that they want people necessarily to endure combat. I think they're just going to be like, hey, there's combat here. Don't go there. But I do think that obviously you're always going to be at least a little bit in danger. And there's a talk about this. We went over this last week. For anybody who hasn't seen my deep dive on this, why don't we just go back to that? I did a whole 2.5 hours on this, what I think of what CIG wants them to do for this. So let's listen in. And I don't even... Shut up.
And these
Korea, the hotspots.
Exactly. So we have certain hotspots, within the system that I still think they're 100% valid, and that people should be able to go there and try that out.
It serves a double purpose. It attracts the people looking for it to those places, and it lets the people who want to avoid it avoid those places.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not gonna butcher his accent, Mrs. Tomato.
Ideally in the star map in the future, where
You come in here and do it.
where like hotspots of of activity, and then that kind of can gear your, or at that point in time you can choose your route, with that information. So I know that we've talked about like a PvP slider, and we're not going to have anything that's player facing, but obviously for us as developers, we still want to be able to tune, how much, if the players are gearing more towards PvP, based off their actions, then that's more of the content that we would be pushing towards them, whether those be bounties or assassination missions or those types of things.
Okay.
But if the players are not geared towards that, then, that to me is basically their choices matter, in kind of the content that we're providing towards them.
So I think the idea of the game, the direction they want to go in at least, is that you'll always be in some level of danger, but generally you'll be able to understand where you're headed, or what the risk is in the places that you're headed. And that's something that Chris kind of talks about here too. On it too, and that mostly
come together to try and dominate an area.
To be fair, we're trying to go in there.
I see sort of a lot more of the PvP coming into play is the organization stuff. I definitely see the organizations are going to get together and they'll be like, I want to fight over this, this piece of this, asteroid base. Or we'll definitely have areas where we'll allow players to sort of, kind of come together to try and dominate an area. And so I think there'll be sort of PvP conflict based around that, and then there'll be plenty of just going about your life, doing the business, earning some money that you can probably completely avoid PvP if you want to.
And
that's not to say that PvP is the only combat that you'll experience in this game, but I think that is consistent with other types of combat that they want to have in the game anyways. In what ways is crowdfunding model used for Star Citizen affected its development process and community relations, and what lessons can other game developers learn for its approach to funding? You want an essay, dude? Because that's how you get an essay. That's a lot, man. I think crowdfunding has made this game possible to pursue a lot of stuff, but it's also made it possible to progress without the same kind of reins as a more traditionally funded game. Like, your money's coming from backers. You don't have regular updates or regular... Like, you're both dictating how the money is made and how the messaging happens. It's not like you have backers coming into the office and demanding updates and to see progress and all that kind of stuff. So it's a double-edged sword for sure. And I think open development itself makes everything harder to navigate because game development sucks. We've seen that become more and more apparent over the last decade, I would say, with the way that games release and the way that some games fail to release. And the state that some games release in. And I think that like we're getting to see really the innards of how bad that can be with Star Citizen. And it's probably the same thing that a lot of other games go through, but because they have to button it up and figure it out and ship it on time, they end up getting it figured out. Whereas with Star Citizen, we're seeing it all, and it's ugly. Granted, there are plenty of open development examples that aren't as ugly. Satisfactory, I think, is a really good example of a game that has really walked that tightrope of open development in that they've been able to deliver just enough news to keep people understanding what's going on. They've kept the game stable enough that it doesn't lead to people asking too many questions. But at the same time, they have kept a lot of stuff to themselves until they're fully ready to say something because they're not depending on the income as much. You cannot buy an F8 in-game, which is why I didn't vote for it. Former game director interviews are kind of senseless in your eyes. That's fair. I think the stuff they're talking about still seems to ring pretty true from what they're saying. Like, as we're seeing, he straight up said that they want to create hotspots for PvP and combat, and we are now seeing a hotspot for PvP and combat in these contested zones. In fact, I think... Hold on. If I go back to that... I think he literally said Asteroid bases in this video. I know as well back then. Oh my God. Current mobiGlass really just kind of...
Imagine physicalization.
Okay, let me just look this up. Calling all devs player versus player. That Space Tomato guy just constantly pausing the video, you know?
I still think they're 100% valid, and that people should be able to go there and try that out.
It serves a double purpose. It attracts the people looking for.
So that we have certain hotspots, you know, within the system that will. I still think, and if so, then yeah, then I think it should happen there. Then we also obviously have like abandoned space stations and.
Yeah, he's literally referencing something in 2020 that we're now getting in 2024. So even if this interview is a little bit, it's from somebody who doesn't work at the company, clearly what he's talking about is entering the game in 3 or in 4.0. So I think there's still some reason to listen to that and you know, at least lend some credence to that being the direction they're going in. Think it's a rebrand of the Freelancer? Huh. That would be interesting if they changed the Freelancer that much. People complain that CIG isn't as open with them with info on what's happening, but then complain when CIG tells them, hey, sorry, this thing gets pushed back. I think they just choose really weird times to be open and other times to not be as open. Like, we don't know what's going on with server meshing. Yeah, we got an ISC about it a month and a half ago saying that things went well, but like, what's been happening with it while 324 has been in the PTU? There's something about Planet Tech V5 been mentioned in the monthly report of June. It's the virtual terrain texturing, which will move terrain rendering to GPU. Allow for things like beaches and complex terrain. Yeah, Planet Tech V5 has been in the works. They haven't really said much about it. What's up, Thaddeus? Good to see ya. I think they'll talk about 1.0 at CitizenCon, yeah. Tomato bending space and time for anyone else. Is my voice acting weird? Of course I voted Terrapin Execute. Good to see you, by the way. What do I think is harder? Yep, another mic. Building Star Citizen or building a real spaceship? I would guess building a real spaceship is probably a little bit harder. As much as Star Citizen has taken time and effort, I don't think you ever really have to worry about risking somebody's life, which is nice. That is an unfortunate side effect of sending people to space. I assume you mean a spaceship with people in it and not just like computers. We have 3 more months for 4.0. We have 3 more months possibly for 4.0. Who knows when 4.0 will actually reach us. Question. Zayeth. What's up, friend? How you doing? Where do I see the survival elements such as food and water going with 4.0? With 4.0, I don't actually expect it to move that much. But survival overall in Star Citizen, I'm really hoping that they dive into it. Not so much that everybody has to deal with it, but I think that there should be some level of gameplay when, you know, you have to take an escape pod or you have to crash land on a planet and you need to repair your ship. You should have to worry about the atmosphere of that planet. Where are you going to get your food? How are you going to power your ship? How are you going to power your life support? All that kind of stuff should be something that you can account for when you're on a planet. Yeah, I think there's a really cool opportunity in this game for survival gameplay, but I doubt that's their main focus anytime in the immediate future. Sometimes you don't know the answers to questions, and sharing that you don't know isn't helpful. Wait, what? Sharing that you don't know isn't helpful? Isn't it helpful to share if you don't know? I don't know is it's a great combination of words. So combat and risk hotspots, there must be some serious rewards for entering these locations given the persistent risks involved. Yeah, there's gonna need to be. Also, it needs to be difficult to die. That was something that was said during... Ooh. Let's see if we can find that. Death of a spaceman. Like, you're not supposed to die nearly as much as we die right now. I think John Crew talked about it. Oh boy, we got the two talkers on this episode. Oh, there's no way I'm gonna be able to find it in here. You're not supposed to die much. Like, it's supposed to take really, really a high amount of damage to kill you. And I don't remember where exactly they said this. We're definitely not going to go through this whole episode. This is going to be so much talking.
Insurance that rescues my body or something like that. Then there is the kind of like, you've died in terms of you've given up the ghost, nobody's coming. You're like, okay, that's it. I'm leaving that body there, and I'm going to go back to a hospital and be revived. But that's kind of part of your DNA. That DNA is kind of going to be reimpregnated into essentially a clone of you. And then you'll be able to then go back to your location, and you'll be able to see, you know, your dead body there. And as long as nobody's been there, you'll be able to retrieve your gear and so on and so forth. And then the third aspect in terms of like you passing on to your next of kin and that kind of thing. So what we're actually evaluating now is kind of how this is integrated into kind of like the core healing gameplay and the actor status. So we already did kind of some of the actor status with, you know, temperature in terms of hypothermia and hyperthermia and things like, you know, starvation and things. And what we want to do now in terms of the next iteration of this is what we call like the healing and actor status T1. And what that will do is introduce drugs. So you'll have a blood drug level and you'll be able to manipulate things, but it will also introduce all the different statuses that are surrounding you.
Oh yeah, this video came out before you could even heal yourself. I guess you could heal yourself with med pens, but there wasn't like a medical tool. There weren't hospitals. There were no med beds. There was no respawning anywhere other than in, you know, the habs. This is all before that, 315.
It's a character. So, for example, when you're in battle and you take a really bad wound to the arm, you know, you might say, okay, I've got a fracture, you know, so my arm, I've got a permanent fracture. I'd have to go back to the hospital to get that repaired. Otherwise, I'm going to start to suffer some status effects that is surrounding that. But if you keep taking damage and you keep taking more damage, that fracture might turn into, you know, a break, and then it might turn into actually coming out of your arm kind of thing. And the level of that status will dictate the level of cover and level of healing that you need to go and basically get that healed.
Yeah, I have no idea where they're going to say it in this episode.
When, you know, you've had one too many close calls or lost one too many battles, you no longer can be, you know, resuscitated, you know, and you have to pass on.
Okay, can I just say, I see you making the joke about Chris talking with his hands. I saw the freaking funniest video. It was so funny. Mrs. Tomato found it, I think, on Twitter, and it was like a bunch of clips of Donald Trump talking on stage, and he's like, does this a lot with his hands, and somebody put a, I don't even remember what it's called, the thing, the accordion? No, what is the air instrument that you press back and forth to make sound? They put that in his hands and they made it make the sounds. And it was so freaking funny. And I feel like they could do that with Chris because they could probably do it with Chris with like a triangle or something. I don't know, a musical instrument of some sort, because he talks with his hands. Yeah, is it an accordion? That's the one. God, it's hilarious.
Essentially to your next of kin, which will have you call out basically who your next of kin is when you're sort of doing your character creation. And, you know, that idea is, you know, whether it's passing it down to your son or your daughter or a relative or a friend or whatever it would be, you call that out. And when that does, your possessions and reputation kind of
it's got to be,
you know, proud and happy you're doing yourself, which is definitely, you know, I think one of the mechanics that makes Demon Souls and its subsequent games, you know, so both infuriating and rewarding when you manage to do it. So kind of the idea was like, what kind of consequence can we have in our persistent universe in terms of, how do we encourage the players to stay alive? How do we encourage the players to keep their ship or repair their ship intact? We don't want people to just go, oh, I got a scratch, I'm just going to respawn in a perfectly, pristine state.
Just claim the ship.
For the character or the ship. And so Death of the Spaceman was sort of an idea to give an association with your player character in the game, in terms of this is who you are, and you want to keep yourself alive as possible, as much as possible, and identify with your avatar as an actual real person and character, and you care about and you want to keep alive. And then finally, when you've had one too many close calls or lost one too many battles, you no longer can be resuscitate.
Yeah, I'm not going to take a bunch of time on this. The idea, though, is that you're supposed to go down a lot and be able to call for help, and then somebody comes and gets you up. But the actual, dead, where you have to respawn at a hospital, is not supposed to happen as much. And obviously, we glitch a lot in the game right now, so that's why they haven't even included this system in there just yet. Question: how do I think the mood of the community compares now to before 3.0? Do I think there will be a similar rebound? How many people in chat were around before 3.0? How many of you guys remember the pre 3.0 drought? Because this is nothing compared to that. Oh my god. Let me show you how bad it was. Hold on. We can go back in time to what a beautiful time that was. Y'all remember the burn down? The old burn down when you wanted to burn your brain inside out and just quit Star Citizen forever? It was an entire year without an update. A whole freaking year. And it all resulted in a 3.0 patch that honestly was pretty broken when we finally got it. Let's see. So just select an around the verse episode. There we go. Check it out. This is what Inside Star Citizen was before they rebranded it. Yeah. 99 bugs on the wall.
Hello, and welcome to another episode.
99 bugs on the wall. I know that song, not the right song. Take one down, pass it around. 199 more bugs on the wall.
So our teams in Los Angeles and Austin are enjoying some much-deserved time off.
Yes, they definitely are.
Because of this, we don't have a feature for today's episode, but we do have some exciting news.
Yes, we do. That's right. As I'm sure.
This was at a time when the morale was so low. People were so annoyed. I'm not going to say this is entirely why they were on camera, but I fully believe that they were on the camera so often during this time because they realized they needed to be in front of the camera. They needed to give people some kind of show that they were still there and they were still focused on talking and getting things done, because it was not fun at this time. 2.6 was quite nice to play. It was pretty stable and stuff. But just the amount of delays that this patch saw, the way it was delayed, the way there was nothing happening. I mean, by this point, it had been 11 months or so since the last update.
Well, you've heard Alpha 3.0 has gone to a wider PTO, so we've gone beyond Evocate, as you would say. So let's see when into getting the build ready for this expanded group of testers in this week's Burn Down.
Welcome back to Burn Down, our weekly show dedicated to reviewing the progress of the release of Star Citizen Alpha 3.0.
Honestly, it'd be interesting if they did a burn down for 4.0, because I see there's another question in chat. Have they stated what is delaying 4.0? Not really. No. We assume it's server meshing. It's honestly probably more so how the database is interacting with server meshing, or how the database is able to handle the game overall. It is a back-end problem, though, right? It's not going to be engineering, not charge and drain, not the pyro system, not outposts. It's going to be something technological that's delaying 4.0, and it's probably server meshing or the database. But This was interesting because they told us every single week how many bugs they were dealing with, what the worst ones were, and how they were handling them to get 3.0 out. And that's kind of indicative of the difference of communication back then versus now.
In the past week, we've made tremendous progress towards the release of PTU as we've focused on the categories: shopping, missions, ships and vehicles, traversal, mobiGlas, and overall performance and stability.
Sandy Gardner has taken a step back from the public facing of the project. She used to be involved in marketing, not anymore, I believe. I believe, again, this is not, I don't actually know this, but I would assume, based on how things were going back then and how much people were kind of very vocal, she probably did not want to be the face of so much of vitriol. People were not very kind to her in her position. Or, I mean, I think Chris also, while probably needing to take a step back just because he always gives dates and says things on camera, I think also it's like, at some point you just got to be like, okay, I don't want to, I can't deal with this every week. It's a lot. Better to just sit back and actually do the work and like not be in front of a camera and be exposed to comments and online and all that stuff all the time. So pretty sure she just didn't want to be as front facing.
So let's check in with the team to see how each progressed.
This week we did a review.
Hey, having one's wife on payroll is not kind of insane. You know, my wife's on our payroll, right? That's how we run our business, man.
You of the physical shops.
But actually, though, we work on the same business.
Then we've been focusing on missions and getting the Item 2.0 ships completely set up. From tech design standpoint, we feel we're feature complete on that, except for one minor bug. And then...
So yeah, half an hour of just devs talking about the bugs.
And we still can't figure it out. So we look back at to what the ticket supplied.
And
fine in the editor.
Explaining the problems.
Then we went over to QA and asked them to look at it, and they noticed that it was only happening in the shipping build. Now,
all across the company.
Kind of display systems, and we're adding a new one, basically for scanning and.
Some of the same faces.
There's no repro. We've only seen it once, and we need to fix it somehow. And this has come up many times.
And at the end of the report,
Last week, our production schedule showed we were at 179 remaining must-fix issues towards the release.
And every single week, these numbers would slightly decrease. Sometimes they'd increase a little bit. And it was just like, this is what we had to do before 3.0. So looking at our pre-4.0 period, we're still getting actual news. We're still getting updates and features. And they're still doing community-focused events and stuff. That's not to say it's better or worse, but I think that the state of the community now is actually better than it was at that time. It's much bigger than it was at that time, and the people who were around pre-3.0, I think were probably a lot more lenient of the delays and stuff. But that was bad. that was really bad. Will the service beacons come back? Yes, they will. Service beacons will definitely come back. They will come back as missions that can be applied in the same way. What improvements to CPU utilization are we expecting between now and 4.0? I don't think anything between now and 4.0. But in 4.0, I think they are going to a multi-threaded rendering setup. So the Gen 12 renderer will use the Vulkan API in a multi-threaded format instead of single-threaded, which should help CPU utilization. Death of a Spaceman is going to be like Dynasty Death, where when you die, your air takes up where you left off. That's the idea. After you die multiple times, that's what they said, yeah. I don't know if they're going to change that concept, though. Does Chris Roberts dye his hair? Mrs. Tomato, hello. I imagine at this point, yes. That much stress, my hair would be white. You were around for the hangar module? Hey, at least you're in the hangar module. We were so starry-eyed. You only remember Pyro being shown at CitizenCon in 2019. Yeah, they did that little teaser jump. You really liked Around the Verse? So did I. You see how long these episodes are? Freaking, these were crazy. Basically, this was before we started to get monthly reports, so they put monthly reports into Around the Verse. And it was beautiful. It was glorious. It gave us so much to talk about every week. You could just come in here. Okay, this is actually when they started to get a little shorter. I think after 3.0, they started to get shorter because they actually didn't have as much to talk about. But before that, they were like 40-minute updates of everything going around in around the company. I don't live off a fundraiser project. Bro, you know how often people tell us that we are a charity? Everything you have seen here at CitizenCon will be in the game during the next year. Yeah. It's, shouldn't have said that. I do expect 4.0 to be kind of like 3.0 in the way that it reworks the game. Like, besides all the features that are listed on the release, thank you very much. I feel like 4. God, Jesus. God, Zayeth. Oh, Zayeth just streamed Santa again. And the goal has been passed. We just passed. Look at the number. Look at the freaking number just scrolling up. Because Zayeth blessed chat again with 100 freaking subs on Twitch. Dude, Jesus. Thank you, man. Oh my God. Also, Ananzi, thank you for the sub. 19 months, I see you. Don't think I don't see you. Thank you for the support as well, buddy. Zayth just coming in and dropping Santa. Santa's a dirty commie from what I heard. Thanks, buddy. Much love to you. I hope you're having a good week. There are supposedly 1,200, 1,300 employees at CIG. Probably harder to get this kind of weekly overview nowadays. Yeah, that's absolutely true. Makes a lot more sense to do that in a monthly report. Do I envision a scenario where the investors could call for Roberts to step down in order to actually complete the game as has happened with his previous projects? Yes. I could see that happening at some point. I'm not going to say it will happen or it is happening or it's bound to happen or anything like that, but if this continues to take a long time, I don't know if the investors that have invested have that much power, but you know, they always could try to pressure him. Anxious Android, thank you for your Prime sub. Reminder that Prime subs say it. Did somebody say charity? Prime subs are free for anybody with Amazon Prime. Appreciate you using that. Okay, why isn't this scrolling down correctly? Is this just my internet connection? It keeps going back in time. How weird. Yeah, everybody give Zayeth a big shout out in chat. A thank you for that. Anybody who just became a Twitch sub, I implore you, please, I beggeth you. I make exclusive videos for you guys every month if you support this channel or if you get a sub gifted to you and somebody else supported it vicariously through you. Please go to our Discord channel, connect to your Twitch profile so that I can give you that exclusive video. I have one coming out this week. It's about time sinks in Star Citizen. I think it's an interesting one. It's a hot take. You may hate it, you may love it, but either way, it is for you specifically. Comes out publicly in about 6 months, and I'd love for you to enjoy it. So please go to the Discord, and you don't even have to talk or anything. Just make sure you're signed up so I can ping you when it comes out. Because it's harder to do that. On YouTube, you guys get it straight to your YouTube front page, but on Twitch, there's no other way to get it to you than on Discord. Because Twitch doesn't have a community page for some reason. Question from Ghost Kami. Do I think there will be a lack of cargo monkeys? Will those of us who enjoy it have ample opportunity to join crews? I don't think there's going to be a lack. There's a lot of people who... a lot of people really like that stuff. And we're so small I know I said that the community during pre 3.0 seemed a lot smaller than it does now, but the actual amount of people who are interested in Star Citizen, or at least playing it right now, is just so small compared to what is actually out there, you know? Look at how many people like playing just like truck simulators. Or Space Trucker, I believe, is coming out in just a couple of weeks. How many people probably want to play that game? Or games like Satisfactory, where you're just working on logistics and building stuff. People really like the gameplay that CIG is working on for that stuff. It's just that there's not enough surrounding that gameplay to validate somebody going and buying in Star Citizen, or even looking into Star Citizen and getting involved. I don't think there will be a lack of it. But I still don't think there's going to be a lack of opportunities for the people who like it. Because you're always going to be able to join orgs like our own that are running activities that are handling multiple bases, that are moving things around for those bases. You got to keep supplies and stuff going for Pioneers on the job, for Orions on the job, for any number of things going on in systems like Pyro, where there aren't going to be space stations where you can continuously get resupplied. So I don't think you're going to have a lack of those positions, but I do think you might have to look for them a little bit if you want to get paid well. Yeah, CIG is definitely not fully owned by investors. I believe it's like 20%, maybe 10 to 20%. You can look it up. This is from 2018. Oh no, not this. So the 2018 investment was for 46 million. That was out of 200 million at the time. So it's about 20%. Obviously, that's a much smaller stake now, but I believe they invested some more after that. But I don't think it ever brought them to over like $80 million. So it's definitely not a controlling stake in any sense. And it's nowhere near enough to do something like pressure Chris Roberts out. But obviously they would, I think they do have some say on one of the board positions. So they obviously get to have some say in what's going on. But this investment was all for marketing, I believe. So it's mainly aimed at Squadron 42, and I believe it's mainly surrounding Squadron 42 is where they're looking at. And that's why Squadron 42 probably needs to come out next year, because that's when their investments, their repayments and stuff start to ask for something back, I think. Yeah, I'll drop this link in the chat for you. There's updated articles on this. Like I said, this is from 2018. There was a reinvestment, I believe, in like 2021 or something like that. You'd have to do a little bit of searching for that, but there is some level of private investment in the game. It's currently 63.25 total from them. Okay. Show notifications at the top left. Where's the show notifications? Player numbers must be low. You've tried to do Arena Commander on a weekend. After 5 minutes of waiting, you left the queue. Yeah, Arena Commander is never a great... never great. Arena Commander's always been kind of not good for seeing the player count, because I don't know, people just don't do Arena Commander. More of an org question from Kangaroo Maxi. Do players want to join you? Are you okay with them also being part of other orgs? Oh, yeah. Yeah, people can join our org and be parts of other orgs. We're not exclusive. Oh, I cleared it. Happy to take care of those problems.
Shopping.
just to make sure all these are functioning.
Discord dead for anyone else? Is Discord not working? Yeah, we don't allow pirate orgs. We don't allow piracy gameplay. I mean, we allow piracy gameplay if it's against NPCs, just not players. The active player number is almost definitely down. It's almost entirely always down during the end of an update cycle. Yeah, that's just the nature of the way that these updates work. And, you know, like, that's how Star Citizen has survived this long. If they weren't pumping out updates constantly every year, the player number would continue to drop because the game isn't ready for long-term interest. And in a year like this, when there's less updates, that's going to be more exaggerated. What ship did Jared tease lip sync at the end of last ISC? I couldn't tell. I think it was the Peregrine, though, which is the rumored Saber variant for racing coming out soon. Whoa. Whoa, Rifle Jock. Oh. Whoa, wait a minute, dude. What the fuck? My brother under the sun. What the heck's going on? My YouTube alerts are not freaking out, which is interesting. YouTube, what you doing? Why aren't you acknowledging this? Bro, this dude just dropped two... Jesus Christ. Oh my god. 100 members on YouTube. Destroy, did you seriously not get one of them? There's no way. Brother, somebody give Destroy a membership. Good God. Good straight Jesus. All right, let me show you. So I know I said on Twitch that you guys have to go to the Discord to find the exclusives. I just want to let you guys know, if you just got a membership on YouTube from my man Rifle Jock. First of all, thank you so much, Rifle. I really appreciate that. Hop in chat. If you are on YouTube though and you're a member over there, just scroll down on the main page here and you will find a playlist here called Members Only Videos. All of these are exclusive to you guys. And these are the same ones that you get on Twitch. You just have to go to Discord for them. But if you click into any of these, feel free to watch them. They're a little more in-depth, usually a little bit longer, looking at some of the more development-focused parts of Star Citizen. Wow. I just lost all of chat. Why don't we do pirates? It's mainly a... It's multifaceted. For starters, reputation for org is a big thing, and that reputation can leave very easily if just a few members start pirating other players under the name of GII. So we don't want that to happen. It's also something that'll be tracked in game at some point, so we would prefer to just not have players who are more focused on piracy in the org now, because by the time it becomes a thing in game, we don't want to have to go through and tell a whole bunch of people, hey, you can't be in the org anymore. So we're just doing that right now. Third reason is obviously PvP can make things more contentious, and we don't want to have to deal with that too. So we keep it easy, keep it simple, and we say, hey, don't do PvP, at least not where we can see you. And dude, it's still rolling out these memberships. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't understand why it doesn't give it to the people who are in chat right now, though. That ain't cool, YouTube. Carlos asked, do you think that running more than live in one testing environment will give them enough data on more than one test? Because limiting it to PTU and focus testing on one evening might be the better solution for testing specific things and getting the data needed. I think running... Destroy, you had to turn on allow gifts. Oh, I should have let you know that. I think Luna Maria was having trouble with that at first, too. I think that the more test environments they open, the worse all of them run. So your preview channel running at the same time as your PTU at the same time as live can make all of them degrade a bit. So they got to pick and choose what they want to run and when. I think they should be using more of the preview channel though, as they said at the end of last year that they would. In fact, let's look that up real quick, because Rycops, man. Oh my god, is this all an attempt to just get Destroy a membership? Yo, dude. Yo, what the freaking hell? Y'all are mad today. What is this, Monday? You got the Monday Manics, you people? Oh my god. Thank you guys. Chat's blowing up, mainly because of the bot. Dude, thank you so much, Rycops. You's a homie. Always in the chat, too. Always hanging out. I hope to pay it forward with some good videos for the next month. I've got some good things planned for y'all. Thank you for continuing to make it possible for us, guys. Rifle Jock, Zayeth, Rycops, Top Shot Steve, I see you with the sub over there, the Prime sub on Twitch. Thank you. Anxious Android, Anunzi, Rage, Turtle Tommy, Lagger, Space Marine, all of you. You guys make this possible. Thank you. And if you're just watching the stream, also, that helps us too. It all helps. It all makes it possible. Let us see. I think it was here. It talked about using the preview channel for some of the features coming up next.
Channel.
Hello. It is hot. That's because chat's hot. Nice. I got the door closed and Mrs. T just came in. She's like, it's hot in here. I'm like, yeah, have you seen it, guys?
That's the planets, moons, space stations, settlements, and outlaw lifestyle that comes within the Pyro system, but also in...
Ananzi, I saw your sub. Didn't I see? Yeah, I saw your sub. A brother named Ananzi. I got you. You said bonjour. Thank you, my man.
Entire host of additional new features, content, and quality of life improvements like, oh, I don't know, fully functional jump points, the new quantum travel system.
That's really hurting me that we don't have the quantum travel system yet. Yo, did we get Destroy? There we go. All we had to do was drop 150 memberships and Destroy got it. Thank you, Rycops. He's a homie. I appreciate you. Luna Maria, your account doesn't allow you accepting gift memberships. You have no idea how that happened. Does that have to do with the super chatting restrictions?
New vehicle HUD and MFD work, resource management, hacking, and much, much more.
Hacking, too. We haven't heard a peep about hacking.
All being worked on in tandem. The preview channel will let you and us test 4.0 together while maintaining the stability of the persistent universe with all those other great additions we just discussed. And then, in the summer of 2024, two become one, and we can avoid that thing that didn't quite go the way that we'd hoped.
It didn't go the way we've hoped. Unfortunately.
Live stream? And then, just because we're cheeky, there are still some things better left for you to discover on your own.
So yeah, mainly, honestly, for me, it's the quantum travel and the hacking that we haven't really heard anything about that's hurting me. But the preview channel hasn't really been used much this year. And that's, I think, what would have helped with what you were asking in your question. Oh, I didn't say I don't like piracy. Don't mistake me there. I fully support piracy, and I think it is a necessary thing in the game. Just not for our org. Hello, Fox. Man, freaking chat is just blown up by the... by these memberships. Space Pirato. We actually have a Rotten Tomatoes clan. No, you can pirate on an alt account. Like I said, that's cool. I pirate on my alt account. Remember the preview channel? Felt like we were supposed to be getting stuff on that all the time this year. We got it like once, yeah. I'm sorry, I'm behind on chat. I'm catching up. Oh my god. This is wild. Having a stream today, dude. No freaking joke. We gotta update our emotes, by the way. I think you guys y'all just got me to the point where I'm ready to update emotes. That's enough subs and memberships to validate it. We gotta get you guys some more interesting things to use on these streams. I'll talk to Mrs. T about it. We'll get with our graphics folk. We just added some emotes over to the Mrs. Tomato channel for the cooking streams. We gotta get some more on here. Shout out to y'all. Hacking sounds lit. Can't wait to fly around the fastest trash can in the verse and steal those ones and zeros. The Herald. Where's the join settings to be able to get gifted a membership? Destroy, can you help out Bookman for us? I don't think they'd consider instant teleports because that definitely mixes up the balance of the game in terms of group gameplay. Like if in Star Citizen they had fast travel, then going through all the work of ambushing somebody on one side of a star system wouldn't really matter if somebody could fast travel to be right there, you know? A pyro emote? Pyro when emotes? You think there should be different servers for PvE only and PvE and PvP, and the second one with bigger rewards since there's risk involved, similar to passive mode on GTA Online? That'd really split the player base, though. They'd have to run different simulations. And basically your risk level goes down. It would also mean that if somebody was hanging out with a person who they were friends with and you just randomly wanted to get into some kind of danger together and or like battle each other, you couldn't. It would mean that there was no risk of friendly fire. You could just drop bombs on your friends to kill the enemies that are right next to them because your bombs won't affect them. Oh, I guess it wouldn't affect the enemies either. Well, it'd affect the NPCs. It would just, it'd make it so easy to cheese the game if they had full-on restrictions on PvE, but it still allowed combat, or PvP rather. Tomato with a cowboy hat. I'm still waiting for you to get the tomato tattoo, Drazen. Just hope they someday can find a broken down abandoned ship, take it home, fix it up, and claim it for your own. Oh yeah, I think we definitely need that. And it sounds like we're getting pretty close to that with the engineering stuff coming in now. Need a ketchup emote. The new knife emote. Shifty. The new knife emotes from the Mrs. Tomato channel has ketchup on it. I think it might be tomato juice, actually. Yeah, I think having star systems that are essentially PvE only is a good way to go about it. Like the Terra system, you don't really want to get into crime. You know, maybe some of the back alley spots in that system, but not really. The Castra system? Nah. Stay protected. It's when you start to get to the Stanton system, the Pyro system, the Nyx system, that's when that stuff starts to become more of a worry. Yo, Darth Wookie, thank you for the bit. The little bitty. Luna Maria dropping the tenor on YouTube, thank you. Said I have no restrictions on super chatting, just a verbal agreement with my husband. After some Google searching, the issue I learned your account type can't accept gifted memberships. I see. Well, I appreciate the super chat despite the verbal agreement, and thanks for being a member of the community and a member on YouTube. Much love. Question from Zayeth. Has CIG said how they plan on preventing players and orgs from blockading jump points in 4.0 and beyond? Well, jump points will have security systems. So the second you start shooting at other people, security will engage you. and make it hard for you to stay around the entrance to jump points. As for the exit of jump points, there is no defined exit. So once you jump through a jump point, you will leave space in a
being
place.
Able to visit an entirely new star system and having that experience.
You'll be leaving space in a place where they can't predict. So they mention that here.
The intention is that there will be multiple locations where you will exit to, and so this will mitigate that threat.
It's kind of a shotgun approach coming out of the jump gate because we don't want everybody to be slamming right into each other. We want to be able to spread the ships out that are coming through and get your own view of your new setting and where you're at.
They talk about the entrance to the jump point. Here.
Jump points, multiple players can take them at the same time, so it is probably likely that you will encounter other players waiting to make their jumps.
And you'll also see the security and the turret infrastructure around it that's providing a safe experience on the permanent jump gates.
So that's the big problem with the whole game, right? Is these security systems aren't quite up to snuff yet. But the idea is that security will be an in-game deterrent from people doing that. Rifle Chalk, dude, dropping a super chat in chat after all the memberships. Jesus, man. It's God's work that you can support today. You followed this content for many years now and would like to show the support for the content you love so much. Keep up all the awesome work and dedication. Thank you, man. Thank you for the support, for making this possible. It goes a long way. You have no idea. I really appreciate it. And it's good fun. I like covering Star Citizen, and there's so many good games that come out that I enjoy that I just couldn't put as much time towards. I love Civilization. Civ 7's coming out soon, and I would love to cover that, but as much fun as Civilization is, I could never sit and talk about it for 3 hours straight. Maybe I could. Not multiple days a week, though. Perhaps more of a concern will be when you're waiting for ATC to enter the jump point rather than exiting. Yeah, I think having security systems that are adequate there, having patrol ships that are flying around in the area, they just need to make sure they're heavily fortified. Yeah, so it's basically, it'll spit you out at the same location if you enter at the same time in this sort of, there's got to be some sort of a time gate that if you all enter within the same minute, then you end up in the same general area, but if you go and then somebody waits a couple minutes and then they go, I imagine you'll have a couple hundred, maybe a couple thousand kilometers between you two. Even riskier systems than Pyro. I think the Cathcart system, if I'm not mistaken, is pretty risky. I want to say the Cathcart system contains the Spider. Yeah. So the Spider is a Rycobs, dude. You guys on YouTube, man. What are you doing? Rycobs said this content is special to me because it ends up stimulating my brain and leaves me in a positive vibe that matters. Positive vibes, my friend. Even when the criticism is needed, try to go for a positive vibe, you know? Try to leave you, even if it's disappointing, you want to feel like you're stimulated by the disappointment, right? It's got to be that positive disappointment. So the Spider is a space station built out of a bunch of old stations and ships by fugitives, criminals, and the impoverished. It can only be described as a mechanical world that is constantly changing and growing in both form and control. The groups that own and manage the landing zones on one might be replaced the next. This is a... Let's see if I can pull up where they talk about this.
The idea of it was inspired by the raft in the end of Snow Crash. If you've read that, if you haven't, go read it. Basically, there was this massive flotilla of ships and oil tankers and boats that's slowly making its way across the ocean, and it was a really just great visual and a book of great visuals. So it was just, but it did obviously create a lot of migraines in the dev team, thinking about how we were going to possibly build something like this. But anyway, getting back to the
See our
history,
own
so
60%? Okay.
is sort of that was sort of its flavor, and it stayed that way for quite some time. But something started to change probably in the 30th century.
So this is the lead lore writer of the whole game. And this is an old YouTube series they used to do where they would basically just go through the different star systems and say what they were about. Obviously, a lot of this lore changes, but the idea of the Cathcart system is a very, very pirate-heavy place. Not only is it not frontier like Pyro, it is specifically controlled by pirates and gangs.
You have basically Cathcart here, Hades here, Nexus, which for a really long time was basically an unclaimed system, Min, and then Tyrannus. And so with this sort of cluster actually...
So here's one of the pictures of what it's supposed to look like.
Here, you had a pretty high concentration of unclaimed systems, and all of them were basically attracting a lot of people. Like they've become pretty settled, and particularly during the Messer era when people were trying to get away from the sort of really oppressive UAE government. I mean, not that there are many people probably living in Hades, just because it's sort of that dead, ancient civilization, civil war-torn planet, destroyed planet thing. But even so, you still had like this sort of mass of unclaimed systems in the middle here. And but anyway, rumors started to spread basically that there was talk about kind of uniting all of these systems together to form sort of what we would equate to sort of an independent country type thing. So it'd be independent of the UAE and be its own type of government. So
I don't even know how they would make it though. Like this is an insane amount of assets and stuff. It would, I guess, it would be kind of like a space station in the sense that these wouldn't actually be ships. They'd just be physical shapes in space. But this idea, I imagine, sounds like an absolute fantasy for some people. That seedy underground city in space where you could just go to get any sort of ridiculous under the radar mission.
So many people believe that, as you can see here, that Nexus is now a claimed UAE system, that the reason why the UAE decided to reclaim the system and kick all the criminals out was kind of to not only establish some law and order in that area, but was also potentially to break up the bid of this sort of area of space from becoming sort of an outlaw government is probably not accurate, but you get what I mean. So anyway, needless to say, a lot of people in Nexus system didn't take too kindly to being kicked out of their homes, so they started to basically fight with the UAE in there. So the UAE simply held their ground and did their best to fend off the attacks, but in 2935, there was this thing called the Walser Massacre.
What do I enjoy more right now? Following development or playing the game? I mean, most of my content's towards following the development. I can't wait to play this game realistically, and I've gotten more and more into it over the last year and a half, but I love, one of the best things about Star Citizen is unfortunately the promise of what it could be, and that's slowly starting to shift to what it is. I think 324 is actually a big part of that shift. 4.0 is also a pretty significant part of that shift with some of the things coming in like engineering and localized missions, but ultimately I am still engrossed in understanding how these things fit together and are made. And I wish more games did this. I would definitely, if more games did like a deep dive into how they're being made on a weekly basis, I'd cover them because it's really cool. It's cool, it's frustrating, but ultimately it's just insightful to understand how an industry works. And maybe this isn't the best example of how the industry at large works, but I think it's still at least indicative of it. Darth Geronimo, thank you for using your Prime sub this month for the channel. Appreciate your support, my friend. Hope you're having a good stream.
Web-like network of lashed together capital ships sounds really sweet. Long story short, cool pirate system, awesome man-made pirate base thing, and not a lot of law. Anyway, so that is Cathcart in a nutshell.
Cathcart! So there are a couple other systems like Pyro. We probably won't see them for a while, but I think the fact that we talk about Pyro so much, and because Pyro is such a different type of system from Stanton, it leads people to believe that a lot of the game will be like Pyro, and that they are leaning more into a PvP aspect for this game, but it's just that system. The other systems that are coming in the near future, okay, I won't say near future. Other possible systems we might see at some point in the next 5 to 10 years, like Ellis, Terra, and oh God, what is the other one? I can't remember what the other one is now. The military system that's connected to Pyro, I think it is. Those are all really safe systems. Mando Rick, happy to provide the content for you. I do think that 30-minute to 1 hour stints in this game will be a possibility when they get more of the content in. I don't think they're going to leave you behind. Tessa Bannister? Yeah, those are good missions. We miss those. I hope that we start to see more missions kind of like that in 4.0 and beyond. Tessa Bannister's missions, I will play a couple of them. I think, yeah, Cameral had a pretty good... Oh no, these are all just the dialogues. There's a couple of these missions. Had a really good like voice acting in them, had good stories to them, just interesting to play. This is before 3.0.
Plus 25. So I've just noticed that I'm about to run out of fuel, and
Just trying to find a mission, like at least some of the dialogue. They still promise it'll return. I think she'll be a mission giver at some point. I don't think Nyx will be 4.2, but I do think it'll be within the first, like, 5 updates after 4.0. Maybe 5 or 6 updates. Ananzi, maybe someday we should talk about the QA, you know? Only real difference is delays, but even then plenty of games delay things they have coming. First DLCs for Skyrim were delayed for one console for months. Only months? That's nothing, man. Castra, thank you guys. Where is the mission itself?
so we've just finished ICC mission 5, and we're awaiting Tessa to give us the quantum point to ICC mission 6, which is at CRU.
There we go. So you would just fly around and get these random pings from this woman who was in one of the...
The rest of the ICC
I don't know where exactly she was, but she would just give you missions occasionally to go and like investigate locations. I think server meshing will help with AI, yeah. If they can utilize it to split up the load. And sometimes they were more or less applied than that, but then you would fly off to a location.
So this mission,
you'd find some random place in like asteroid belts or something. These are all on YouTube. You can go and watch them yourself. Plenty of people have recorded them for folks to watch afterward. Good missions. I miss them. Could always find you at that rock. Used to lead people to that location, which few people knew about. Yeah, I hope we get those again soon. She was a great mission giver. think our first systems upon full release will be Stanton, Pyro, Nyx, Odin, Vega, Bremen. Not a bad guess. I think Stanton, Pyro, Nyx, Odin, Castra, Terra, or Magnus Terra. And I think Terra would make for a perfect Star Citizen 1.0 release. Oh, we got a question. Question from Rycops. Do you know when they will get the entire UI ported over to building blocks and finally away from Flash? What else do they have to do? Moby-Glass is ported over, right? So all of those UI are done. The shop kiosks are ported over. MFDs are getting an update in the next patch, so those will be ported over. All the notifications and things have been ported over. Is there anything else that needs to move to building blocks? Question from Sir Rebel Paul. Will server meshing really be all it's cracked up to be? I worry it'll be buggy and stay that way while they figure it out and isn't good until it's something established in other games. I think it will be rough. Maybe. Okay, I've got what I hope happens and what I think might happen. I think it might be rough for the first patch, and it will take some time for them to get everything figured out, because essentially it's like 3.18. 3.18 was a replacement of a big back-end part of the game, and so the whole goal was basically to take everything they already had, make it run on this new system just like it was before. It wasn't about improving it, it was just about porting it over. So I think the first implementation of server meshing might be the same. It might just be all about making sure the game can run on a server meshed environment. Not making anything better, not increasing the player count or any of that stuff, just making sure that it just works. So that first patch, yeah, maybe. But I think within at least a patch or two after that, it will definitely start to show us some improvements. Ultimately, the database might always be a problem, and we'll have to see what that is. But I don't think that server meshing will be everything that we have hyped it up to be. I don't think that it will be the golden ticket that makes everything better. I just think that it is the step that's necessary for them to be able to make everything better, and that's why it's important. Like, in my mind, push it through no matter what. Just make sure it runs in the game so that you can start to do the things that really matter with server meshing in mind. What I hope happens, though, is that 4.0 comes out and it runs just like the game does now, but with more reliability. I think that's a win for them. And then I think the same thing would happen after that, that they would still need to work on it and make sure it runs more and more reliably after that. Baffling how they always cut out content everybody loved. Sadly, never played any of those Tessa missions. That was kind of like... I could see that happening with 4.0 too. Basically, they cut out missions that didn't work with the new 3.0 system. But it is annoying that we never got them back. Question from Tundra Geist. Think they will ever make us have passports to access new systems purchased for in real life monies like DLCs? No. They'll never... I don't believe that they will ever gate any parts of the persistent universe behind DLC or behind payment. I think the only thing that they're going to charge money for are cosmetics, ships, and maybe habs, maybe apartments in cities. Quantum travel UI. Right. That's probably... Well, quantum travel UI just changed, didn't it? Either way, it does look like it's going to change with the jump point UI.
Being able to...
Like this...
And we set our course for the Stanton to Pyro jump point.
So if you look at the jump point UI, it's definitely different from anything we have right now. It doesn't look like an iteration on quantum travel. It looks like a completely different UI. So I'm guessing that whenever we get jump points, well, my hope is whenever we get jump points, we also get the new quantum travel and the UI associated with it.
The first thing.
See if I can just get a view of it.
To the ATC to be able
An individual. So the ATC go in,
you group,
and when you have fresh room in there, in 4
have some more. ATC does not.
Our UI will
There it is.
automatically change to the
So
G5 UI.
that's definitely a different type of UI than what we have from quantum traveling, and I think it likely gets updated. Maybe 4.0 is where everything gets changed over to building blocks. No problem, Rebel. Thanks for asking your question. I hope they use Clovis Darnley more for just asking for simple salvage missions and stuff. But they seem to have ditched the mission givers until after it's more stable. Rod Cops with a question. How do you think the final 4.0 or 1.0 flight model will compare to what we have in game now? Any info on that direction? Oh, dude, there's a lot. I think in terms of space flight, it will be pretty similar, but atmospheric flight will be a lot different. We still have our hover mode, which is basically coming back in the form of VTOL and the heat system. And that has been teased a couple of different times, talked about rather. Let me see if we can pull up. There's like one line during CitizenCon last year that really tells us about that. And I think that's the last time I was using this.
However, you are now in a state that the thrusters don't like, right? So at the moment we have turned this up, but in the future you will not be able to hold this for long. So if Brent, for example, now from a hover,
so I'll play that part again, but basically this is Yogi saying that you won't be able to really hover in atmosphere still for a long time. Not only does this count for the hover mode, like regular ship hovering, this also means that your ship can't just sit in the air pointed straight down or straight up and just exist like that.
and then more and more until you're reaching stall speed, which is about now, and then the thrusters will kick in and catch you.
So that's because control surfaces means our ships will mostly depend on aerodynamics. So if your ship isn't aerodynamic, then you're going to have to depend more on your thrusters to keep you up in the air while you're normal flying. And in that case, that means you're going to have to watch your heat in atmosphere while flying in a ship like a Caterpillar, which is like brick-shaped, right? So this will give a benefit to people who choose ships that are more aerodynamic or focus more on their coolers or focus just on the upkeep of their thrusters.
That means, however, you are now in a state that the thrusters don't like, right? So at the moment we have turned this up, but in the future you will not be able to hold this for long. So if Brent, for example, now from a hover, strafe is left, more left, more left, more left. The wind flow again pulls the ship over, and you go forward again.
So I don't think that necessarily means it'll be impossible to fly in atmosphere, but I do think that will continue to push people to spend more time in space and make planetary gameplay a little bit more specialized, but just encourage people to not fly their own ships all the time. It would be nice to be able to easily get a lift down to an outpost if you want to go to an outpost, and then like they're showing with these new outposts in Pyro, you can run multiple missions there without ever leaving. So you don't need your ship to go and fly different places over and over again to get different missions. You can just get a lift down to an outpost and then spend the next hour of gameplay there. Your message is disappearing, Luna? I just see you're able to opt back into your account. And you said your messages are disappearing. I don't see the ones that did. Weird though. Yep, another Mike asked. After the game has been released for a few years, do you think the majority of points of interest will be dev built or player created in the forms of bases, ships, shipwrecks, etc.? I don't know. Good question. I think there will still be plenty of dev built points of interest, but yeah, there might be a lot of player bases. It'll be interesting to see how player bases factor into the economy and missions and stuff.
Yum, 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 yum.
That was within the last 12 months or so bracket. Let's go to that statement real quick. Let's go listen to what he said about that, because he really butchered his delivery of that line. He first said, yes, this will be in the next 12 months. And he was like, most of this should be in the next 12 months. It's like, okay, dude, which one is it? How is it going to work? And I think he immediately wanted to not have said that so clearly. There we go.
Updated, UI stuff, the updated FPS stuff, the updated flight stuff, the character stuff, which is something we're very proud of, because this is, after all, an MMO. You want to have as much freedom to create the character you want to create.
Destroy found his toes.
So, as you may have guessed, and Brian Chambers may have let slip a bit earlier, we are feature complete on Squadron 42. You will not get all. You always
Give
get
us
very
a Star
angry at me
Citizen
when I
news.
give dates. It will be the Gold Masters, but it prepared a small video for you. I may be lying; it's a bit bigger than small. To give you a glimpse of everything we've been working on.
Okay, hold on. That's the squadron stuff. I think that's when they got the picture of me. I don't know if you guys saw that. There's a picture of me smiling like an idiot, and I'm pretty sure it was during the Squadron 42 video.
Through next year, so it's not.
There
Star
it is.
Citizen,
There it is. Say it again. Come on.
just so everyone remembers that. Pension. Everything that we, as in they're either finished or they're in polishing stage, which is why we're showing them. So everything that we've been showing you here at CitizenCon is our intention. Not making 100% promise, just so everyone remembers that.
See, he... It doesn't matter because we don't remember that part. Don't say any of it.
To get them into Star Citizen through next year. So we're not...
That's... Okay, see, that's the thing. That's what I think he messed up on. He said both within 12 months and through next year, and I think through next year makes a lot more sense because 12 months from CitizenCon obviously is cutting out that last patch of the year, which can have a lot of stuff in it. But I think he also said within 12 months.
It's not going to be gated on having to be after Squadron 42. So we are...
You'd think he learned by now. There's so many CitizenCons where he's like, I'm not going to give dates.
Over the Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 of next.
Yeah, he does do a lot to clarify. He doesn't mean in the next 12 months. He means over the 12 months of 2024.
Next year, hopefully everything that we've shown you, you will have in your hands playing inside Star Citizen.
But that is just so stupid to say. Everything, there's no way everything. Like, that's what he shouldn't have said. He should have said most of the stuff. See, this guy knows, right? And then he sees the camera and he's like, okay, I'll click. Okay, yeah, sure.
And it's very gratifying for the team and myself to finally be able to show you a lot of this. One of the advantages of being able to go and iterate on these features in Squadron was that we were able to do it without having to release every 3 months and make sure the old system worked while the new system was working, so we could actually...
Yeah, he does a lot of clarifying, but obviously that gets missed. Almost the universal running quote right now is within 12 months. A lot of people specifically say he said up until next CitizenCon everything gets delivered. So that it doesn't like it. He can say it and then he can clarify and he can caveat it, but at the end of the day, the statement ends up getting run away with because I think at another point during this he does say in the next 12 months.
See when we showed you the updated UI stuff, the updated FPS stuff, the updated flight stuff, the character stuff, which is something we're very proud of because this is, after all, an MMO. You want to have as much freedom to create the character you want to create. So, as you may have guessed, and Brian...
Okay, so that's that, right? Now let's go back to the beginning of day one real quick, because I think that was what he said at the end of day two. Now let's see the beginning of day one, what he said about the same stuff.
2953. After 4 years being shut away, doing it online.
This one's a little quieter.
It's so great to see so many of you, old faces, new faces, this weekend. I think you guys have already been around a little bit. I mean, there's some fun stuff here. There's the alleyway, seedy alleyways, the checkmate station.
Yeah, people, you know, put their own expectations on it, no doubt.
Community orgs have set up their first in-person flight, 150 beginnings of Pyro. Access to the Pyro playground next year is the most excited I've ever been at a CitizenCon. I think we're going to show some stuff that's going to blow your guys' minds.
Can you imagine if he came out and he was like, you know, I'm really pumped. I'm really, really pumped about this year's CitizenCon, but honestly, I'm not as excited as I was in the one 2 years ago. It kind of reminds me of when you get these smartphone companies like Google or Apple send out their execs, you get Tim Cook come on the stage and he's just like, folks, what I've got for you today, this is the second best iPhone we have ever created. I would crack up. Oh my God.
A lot of stuff we've been working on really hard actually for the last few years. Anyway, I can't wait to see what you guys think of it. And there's a lot of stuff that's been iterated on by Squadron 42. You guys will have probably noticed that the tasks have dried up on the task tracker. And you're going to sort of see the results of that over these next 2 days. So hopefully...
Where's the new tasks on that task tracker? Actually, we should look into that after this video.
You like it? And a lot of what you're going to see is going to be coming into Star Citizen over the next 12 months.
There it is. See? I feel like this was the beginning of CitizenCon, right? And then he said something different at the end. I wonder if he went and sat back and he looked at everything that they presented over the next 2 days and he's like, you know what? I'm gonna change that statement up a little bit. Maybe you should add a couple more months onto that.
Even a few little things will come into 322 at the end of this year. But definitely next year, a lot of what you'll be seeing will be coming in, and it's going to make a dramatically different experience.
And then he says next year, so not just the next 12 months, next year, a lot of what you'll be seeing. There's just so many different words that it's not even worth trying to gauge what exactly is supposed to happen. I think in general, the energy behind it, the idea behind what he's saying here is that this stuff is coming in about the next year, by the end of next year. And I don't think it's everything. I don't see how they could possibly ever imagine getting base building into the game within 2024 if they're starting work on it Q1 of 2024. I think there's a little bit of sloppy speak there, but ultimately I think what he's trying to say is a lot of this stuff is actually being developed for the game that you will be seeing by the end of next year, not the one that you're getting in a few years. And I think he could have done a much better job of delivering on that, because obviously what a lot of people have gotten from that have set expectations to make this year a lot less significant than people expected, myself included. I never believed all of this stuff would make it in this year, but I definitely believed that we get a decent amount of it, 75% of it at least. I didn't expect to see the base building stuff. I didn't expect to see Maelstrom this year. But mostly everything else, yeah, I expected to see in some way this year. And I still do think if they can get 4.0 out, then we'll see the majority of this stuff. Just, there's a lot of stuff that's still missing.
Experience in Star Citizen. So I'm very excited.
Yeah, it was kind of like, this is not sandworm sort of stuff, which is still credible.
I noticed there was a little concern occasionally in the community that they were afraid by the time Star Citizen finally becomes 1.0 releases, maybe our tech's going to be obsolete. But
people still say that, man. People like I get comments on my YouTube video. People are like, by the time this game releases, it's going to be passed up by everything else. People have been saying that for like half a decade. They own the engine. They can just continue building. Not that people want that. Don't get me wrong. Like, don't keep building, but you know, they can continue to update stuff. The Star Wars Outlaws just came out, brand new game, still running on game systems that we developed 14 years ago. It's not like new games come out and just completely discredit every game that comes out since then. Grand Theft Auto 5 still one of the most popular games. Red Dead Redemption 2 still plays amazingly. Came out like 6 years ago. Like, relax on that kind. So my friend Greg created this website. We've been to it a couple of times. I think it's a great way to keep up with the features that he talked about. It shows the progress on everything that they listed out since CitizenCon and what's being made. And as you can see, they've really only delivered fully 2 segments. Now you can go in here and actually see every single feature. And hey man, those are good games that have released. This better be a good game. That's what I'm saying. Like, I should be able to talk about this game in line with some of the greats, or else what's the point of all this time? But you know, take any game, right? Take any game that has come out in the last 7 to 8 years. Give me a bad game. Golem. I didn't really look into that game, but like Halo Infinite, I don't think most people consider that to be a great game. I think they consider it to be an okay game. It had a rough launch, but it came out, what, 3 or 4 years ago, and the gameplay has not aged poorly. And I think that's just going to say that, like, you can have a game with decent gameplay. It's the package overall that makes a game have legs or not. There are plenty of games that run on very outdated gameplay that, because they've got the writing, the story, the graphics, the gameplay all mixed in together, it's just kind of timeless, you know? Starfield? I'm not touching that. Okay, so here are all the different sections of features. Let me drop this link for you guys if you want to follow along at home. Games do get outdated all the time, especially games that are based on graphics like SC. Can't just magically update them to next-gen graphics. But SC's not based on graphics. If Star Citizen was based on graphics, now, don't get me wrong, graphics are great. But if Star Citizen was working on graphics alone to impress people, people wouldn't be playing it anymore. Star Citizen offers gameplay that you cannot get anywhere else. You can't. You can't find any other game that allows you to EVA out of your ship with your friends and repair something or mine something. You can't find any other game that allows you to jump from one spaceship to another as you descend into the atmosphere and FPS battle on that ship. That board another ship, FPS battle, steal the loot, get on your ship, blast off. Like, these are things that are they can't be easily replicated, and other games can't come along and just do that and outdate Star Citizen. Graphics wise, yeah, maybe. But even then, they still do own the rendering system. They still got the chance to do all their DLSS and FSR. They've got their ray tracing that they're working on. They've got their tessellation, what who have you stuff. Like, they can update the graphics at least. They can't replace them all the way. But I think Star Citizen is setting out to be a package. They're trying to build an AI system that's pretty cool, pretty intuitive. Hopefully can do something like Fear used to back in the day. Gameplay systems that require interactivity like engineering, resource management, mining, and salvaging. And then also the graphics and the high quality voice acting. A lot of MMOs don't even have voice acting. So, like, if you can put all these things together, it's much harder to outdate a game like that. Yeah, they came from the CryEngine originally. Okay, so first panel, Shaping the Verse, Future of Star Engine. Quantum travel effects, not here. I really hope that they include this in 4.0 at some time. Fire simulation, we're seeing that's planned for 4.0, so they could get both of these in with 4.0. Maelstrom, I just don't think that's going to happen. Ray traced global illumination, they haven't talked about that, so I don't think that's going to happen. New audio simulation, that's another thing I wasn't really thinking we'd get this year. I forgot about that. Static server meshing. So out of all of this here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 1, 2, 3, 3 out of 13 would probably not make it this year if they can get the quantum travel effect in 4.0. That's with 4.0 launching. That's what I'm kind of basing this off of. Fix it and fly it. Resource management. That's in Arena Commander. It's basically going to be in 4.0, I think. I think that's a pretty solid bet. So this could also be in. Navigating the Verse. New HUD, check. New Mobiglass, check. FPS repair gameplay. That is what they've been showing with the Pyro updates. So if 4.0 comes out, we would get that. FPS scanning, we don't really know much about. I think this could actually slip. We'd have to see, though. Minimap downloadable to Mobiglass. I didn't really expect that this year, to be honest. Downloadable maps seems like something they'd focus more on when we get data running kind of in the works. So I could see that not making it this year. And data running, that also I don't think would make it. So in this section, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Toes.
That would be 1, 2, 3 out of 8 things not making it. Character advancement, Frontier Clothing coming with 4.0. Rough and Ready Gang, 4.0. Headhunters, interesting that that's checked, but that's 4.0. Player hygiene gameplay. Was that at CitizenCon? Hey, Reese. Thanks for the sub, mate. 45 months, this dude. Holy crap. Appreciate you, buddy. SC is still Lumberyard? Not exactly. They've differentiated it enough to be able to call it Star Engine. I think the only thing that really they use from Lumberyard is the easier connections to the Amazon Web Services. I'm not entirely sure about the details of that, though. Yeah, I don't know about hygiene gameplay, but everything else basically is going to be in with 4.0 and character advancement. Life in the first person, 0G update, check. Player traversal, we haven't seen anything on that. Radiation, nothing on that. Inner thought, check. Player animated interactions, nope. Kiosk and terminal, looting screen, FPS takedowns, FPS radar ping. I think that's FPS scanning is mostly the same as FPS radar ping. Weapon wear. So this one actually has a decent amount of stuff I don't expect this year, even if we do get 4.0. But this is always something that could slide in without us knowing. Taking flight. Immersive cockpit state. Haven't heard anything about that. Complete ship HUD rework. We've been seeing... is the HUD rework... I wonder what the difference would be there. We've been seeing the HUD rework show up in ISC, so I'm assuming that's 4.0. I don't know if radiation is in 4.0. I haven't... Maybe they would include it with the Pyro Star. But I don't know if it's... You're talking about showers? Huh. They have said more about radiation since CitizenCon. It might have shown up in like a monthly report or something. I don't know about the ship HUD rework is the stuff that we've been seeing in like these kind of 4.0 snippets. Let's see, I think we just saw one in the most recent ISC here. So you kind of get, yeah, here we go. So this is the new HUD, right? And the new MFDs. So these are, if they're showing up in ISC now, they're probably going to be in 4.0, or at least planned for 4.0. So if we do get 4.0, I would expect these two to be in, which would probably come in with the configurations for MFDs. That's a big probably, that's a maybe. More so than probably. Quantum boosting would be part of the quantum experience. So if that comes in 4.0, so be it. But we haven't heard anything about that. And control surfaces, we haven't heard enough about for me to expect that in 4.0 either. So there's a decent amount of stuff from this so far that we probably won't see even if 4.0 does land this year. New settlements with local missions. That is 4.0. That's actually what this was all about. Kind of go to the place where they even mentioned this. So they were pretty clear about this.
Locations. Should you align with another faction, you can go to these other locations instead.
You've got a lot more to do there. So instead of going down, doing a mission, flying away again, you can go down, do a mission, do another mission, do a third mission, and then go to another outpost on the same planet and do some missions there. You have a much more involved experience.
So definitely confirmed, targeted for 4.0. That would make this a go-to. And then destination adventure distribution centers are in the game. Raids they haven't talked about. I doubt that's going to be in this year, even if 4.0 lands. New hauler gameplay. We see that with 324. Container attributes. I don't think they're doing anything with that for 324, but personal elevators or freight elevators, personal hangars, yes, with 324. Base building is a no. So of all of the stuff they talked about, if we get 4.0, that's actually a pretty heavy amount of the things, at least that are listed on this website. I would say, let's see. Theoretically, I'm going to say that quantum travel sneaks in with 4.0 because I really want that to happen. But otherwise, if we did get 4.0, but let's say we missed Maelstrom, that's 1. Ray Trace GI is 2. Audio simulation is 3. FPS scanning is 4. Downloadable maps is 5. Data running 6. Hygiene gameplay is 7. Player traversal is 8. Radiation is 9. Animated interactions is 10. FPS takedowns 11. FPS radar and ping 12. Weapon repair 13. Immersive state 14. Control surfaces 15. Raids 16. I feel like container attributes, like we have containers that have different attributes. I don't know if that would count. But I'll just say base building 17. 17 out of 56, so 41 out of 56 features, which is, can somebody do the math for me on that? 75% of features in that 12-month period. I think that's actually not bad. It's not everything, obviously. And there are a couple things that I would definitely want to see, like the player traversal interactions, the animated interactions, and the immersive cockpit experience, but 75% is not awful. So the 4.0 update could do a lot to make this year better if it did make it in this year. Yeah, they showed the Crusader mission with radiation. That was at CitizenCon. They showed radiation and pyro from the solar flares. I don't know if that counts for what they were talking about though. But maybe. Nothing about oxygen or life support in suits. Don't see that on the list. I think that goes with the resource management system. Quantum boosting is free quantum travel, basically. Quantum traveling in whatever direction you want. They show that off here.
And this is not just like dependent on your skills. If you think selecting a proper quantum drive doesn't matter in the future, think again. You want to take care of your quantum drive. You want to repair it and keep it in good shape. So if you buy a cheap one...
Mrs. Tomato brought me something to remind me that it's going to be okay. Remind me of CitizenCon. I think you had more fun with that than I did. Tequila.
Your travel will not necessarily
Oh yeah, 39, sorry. Wow. My math has just gone downhill, huh?
be faster, but it might be harder. Okay, so Brent show us how it's done properly.
Oh, so this is the new quantum travel. I'm so gung-ho on this being a slip-in for 4.0. I really, really hope it is. Oh god, this isn't tequila, Jesus. Again, Joe Munrecker, we just went over this. He did specify he did not mean 12 months by CitizenCon. He meant 12 months in the year of 2024.
The bubble is locked. You can now go hands off.
The hooch. Yeah, this means you only have to pay attention. It adds some interactivity to quantum travel, but not the whole time.
Okay,
Never heard that part. I'll go back to that real quick in a bit.
Travel. And this is for short-range jumps. Sometimes you jump somewhere or you go somewhere and you see the next point of interest is like 1,200 kilometers away. We're not going to force you anymore to travel that by hand. You will use a technique called quantum boosting. It's a quantum-based short-range jump for like something between a couple of hundred.
This is like Super Cruise in Elite Dangerous.
When you use quantum boosting, the process is practically the same, but the quantum bubble will not stabilize itself, so you need to be hands-on for the whole time, and the speeds are naturally...
I think it's a solid way to do it, too. It's got some lore to it.
Okay, so Brent, can you boost to... Oh, reinforcement needed. Yeah, let's go there. Let's boost. Oh, actually, sorry. Thank you. Okay, so what Brent is currently showing here is, I think I forgot to mention, quantum boosting works in every direction. You don't need nav points.
So they could actually get rid of the OM points because of this. Maybe we won't get rid of them, but you won't have to use OM points to get around a planet. You could just quantum boost in it really as you need to get around a planet, which is nice. So that's the part of master modes that we haven't gotten that I'm really excited for. And that was in here somewhere, I believe. Here, yeah, quantum boosting. So we went over the fact that he specified the next year rather than 12 months. That was here.
May have, and it's very gratifying for through next year that we've been showing you an inflection point on a lot of the features, as in they're either finished or they're in polishing stage, which is why we're showing them. So everything that we've been showing you here at CitizenCon is our intention, not making 100% promise, just so everyone remembers that, to get them into Star Citizen through next year. So it's not going to be gated on having to be after Squadron 42. So we are...
I thought it was a Squadron 42 video, Vastin.
Over the Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 of next year, hopefully everything that we've shown you, you will have in your hands playing inside Star Citizen.
Yeah, so he did make a lot more sure towards the end of the program to say all of next year, not just by CitizenCon. Haven't been in garden events recently, but you're hoping to have more time when 324 drops. We're waiting for 324 to drop, and we got a lot more events coming to you guys. Trust. You think if server meshing is 4.0's only impediment, then it is likely that other components might be ready for testing and awaiting meshing to be in place, so 4.1 could be loaded with features. Wait, 4.1. Panda, you circumnavigated Hurston in a non-stop flight last night? Jesus, that sounds like it would take a while. Nick at Night, hello. Yeah, maybe points will allow you to boost faster. Who knows? We will have to see. If 4.0 drops into Evocati after 324 leaves PTU, that's a really good sign. If not, though, then who knows what to expect. Best guess for 4.0 delivery date? I don't have one. Don't ask me to guess. In my video coming out this week, I lay out a couple different scenarios, but I'm not going to put any real guesses out there because it's so up in the air. There won't be a 5.x. I mean, I think 1.0 would be like what 5.x is, because if 3.0 was the expansion from space to planets, which was a big one, right? And 2.0 was the expansion from modules to the persistent universe. 4.0 is the expansion from a single server to server meshing. 5.0 would have to be something equally as big. And what could they have that would dictate that? Besides just going to beta, which I think is what 1.0 is supposed to be. I don't think they really have the time to do 5.0 anymore. I think 5.0 should be what 1.0 is going to be, and 1.0 should come after that with more polish, but so be it. Do I think we're getting the Zeus before 4.0? Nah, they'll wait until 4.0 to put it in. And maybe if they have to do a separate patch for IAE, maybe they'll put the Zeus in for that. But I really do feel like the goal right now is get a patch out, get a 4.0 patch out in time for IAE to have its own patch that has the Zeus CL in it. Maybe they do 3.24.1 or 0.2, but that would be a bad look, in my opinion. And a 325... Don't even get me started. What are my thoughts on the PTU going live this week? I think it's more likely next week, but I would hope it's this week. Be awkward if I release my video and it comes out after 324 goes live, because I kind of talk about that. It's the problem with writing a video 7 days before it comes out. You're looking forward to seeing me at CitizenCon and the Bar Citizens events. We got final confirmation the street will be closed for that Friday event, and we're working on people being able to take food and drinks outside from the bars and restaurants. That is sick. I have some not super great news. We won't be going to CitizenCon this year. We are staying back here, and we'll be covering it remotely. But I'll be calling in and causing as much trouble as I can vicariously through our community. But yeah, we are the visa process to go to England is just it's too much. It requires a lot, and between the stress that's involved with it and like already all of the stuff that we're trying to do this year and everything, we just decided we would take a step back this year and not go. So appreciate you calling it out, but yeah, we won't be there. And I see Tom with the raid. Tom Beckhauser, dude, thank you for raiding into the channel. Appreciate you coming in. Coming in with all that energy and all them peoples. How you doing, friend? Well, Tom, you knew this. You don't want to see the Pyro repeat sitcon? Oh, trust me, I really do. We really, really want to go and see that. We're just not going. Yeah, no, because like it's CitizenCon was last year was, let's see, how much of it was about Pyro? Destination Adventure was about distribution centers in Stanton, cargo truck stuff in 324, base building that's not having to do with Pyro, life in the first person, none of that was about Pyro, character advancement, not about Pyro except for the gangs, navigating the universe, that was all UI, shaping the verse was a star engine display, fire and jump points and stuff like that, fix it and fly it was all engineering, taking flight was all ship flight, talking ship was all about ships, living on the edge was really the only panel about Pyro. Like, I know they themed CitizenCon about Pyro, but the overall CitizenCon wasn't exclusively about Pyro, and I don't think it would be this year. I think there's plenty of stuff to see besides the patch coming up. That being said, I do hope they can get 4.0 out before then. Oh, dude, Echo, we're going to have a hell of a watch party going on here. I'm talking streamathon status. We're going to be going 11 hours both days, streaming it all straight to you guys, live reactions, the whole shebang. Don't worry yourselves. That's going to be a fun day. We're going to have snacks. We're going to have giveaways. It's going to be a good time. If they spend any time talking about Pyro, you'll be upset. Un pico. Verás. Just a little bit. Speaking of which, I saw Beric drop in here earlier today. Hope you're still here, buddy. Cheers to you. Thanks for dropping by. Yeah, Mrs. Tomato needs a visa. You think scarcity is a great thing that makes players solve problems together? Do I think that the trading stations in Pyro will make scarcity not be a thing? I'm slightly worried about the way they talked about them, because they did kind of talk about them having a lot of stuff. But I do hope that that is just for now, when the dynamic economy is not there to make scarcity a thing. Because Pyro definitely needs to have more demand than supply to make the system make sense. I agree with you there. Luca, you know what's funny? A big part of Brexit, a big part of the campaign for Brexit was actually because they didn't want... At the time, Turkey was on a line on the path to entering the EU. And so one of the main campaign points for Brexit was that they did not want to be in the EU if Turkey was, because then Turkey would be able to have people go into England as if they were in the Schengen zone. So it's a little ironic, but because we never did enter the EU, but here we are still having to get a visa for it because they did their whole exit. Because Schengen visas are not hard. Like if the CitizenCon was in Germany, we'd be cool, good to go. But it's in England this year, so we will be waiting until it goes back to the States. Jock, you coming to the watch party? Yeah, man. Germany's much closer anyways, easier to visit. The reason you don't want them to talk about 4.0, Tom, is because we should have 4.0 before CitizenCon. I agree with you there. I do think that I might make a video about this statement though, because I realize that this is... Where'd it go? This was a pretty clear statement from Chris, a pretty clear a pretty clear shift in the messaging from before CitizenCon started. And I think it's been completely missed in the way people are talking about when things should be making it into the game. Because in this part of the panel, he's definitely saying it's not just CitizenCon that we're setting our deadline on, it's the end of 2024. But in... Where is it? Let's go back to the other one. In this statement, though, he does say CitizenCon. So I think he realizes he made a little bit of a mistake in what he said here and corrected it here, but the correction is not what's being quoted. Maybe Germany next year. I think it might be Austin next year. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you don't need a visa to come to Turkey. You just, well... Actually, I think Americans do get one, but you can get one at the airport when you land. It's pretty easy. CitizenCon in Dubai. But that's more than 12 months. So, all right. Here, I'll show you, Tom, because he said 12 months, but this is at the beginning of CitizenCon, right?
In the community that they were afraid by the time Star Citizen is going to be coming into Star Citizen over the next 12 months.
So he said that, but then the next day he came on stage and he said this.
To release. And it's very gratifying for the team and myself to finally be able to show you a lot of this. One of the advantages of being able to go and iterate on these features in Squadron was that we were able to do it without having to release every 3 months and make sure the old system worked while the new system, the updated UI stuff, which is something we're very proud of, because this is, after all, an MMO. You want to have as much freedom to create the character you want to create. So, as you may have guessed, and Brian,
okay, I passed it up. Hold on.
Mention, as in they're either finished or they're in polishing stage, which is why we're showing them. So everything that we've been showing you here at CitizenCon is our intention. Not making 100% promise, just so everyone remembers that, to get them into Star Citizen through next year. So it's not going to be gated on having to be after Squadron 42.
So he says it's for the year.
Thank you.
And then he actually specifies quarters here.
Over the Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 of next year, hopefully everything that we've shown you, you will have in your hands playing inside Star Citizen.
So he really wanted to correct himself there and say this includes Q4, because I think he already foresaw what might start happening here. That by CitizenCon, then they come out and they say summer though, which is like, oh boy, that's where the mistakes come in, talking about 4.0 coming out from the summer. But I think he saw a little bit of the problem there, and still kind of missed the chance to make it super clear. You went to Alanya last summer and didn't need one. You're from the UK. Yeah, you don't need a visa to come to Turkey from the UK. I think that's an American thing. And I don't even know if you still need one from America even. You know what's crazy? Turkish people have to pay money to leave. How wild is that? When you get to the airport as a Turkish citizen, you have to put in your freaking ID number and pay money to leave. It's wild. No chance Force 4.0 at CitizenCon are minuscule. Optimistically, you'll say Christmas. I don't know, man. I think that it would be a boon for this game if they got 4.0 out by CitizenCon. TRK. Guaranteed. But yeah, expect it to be late. PK gifting out 5 freaking Twitch subs on Twitch. Where else would they be? Their Twitch subs. Thank you, PK. Appreciate you, buddy. 07s, dude. Thanks for supporting the channel and GII and the homies in the garden. Your hopium is CitizenCon. Your realism is December. It's not even hinted at for Evo. Well, what would the hint be? I think that I'm waiting until 324 goes to live. Whatever they're messaging in after that is kind of what sets my expectations. Right now, I feel like that is muddying the waters. God, what is wrong with my wrist? And kind of skewing expectations. Yo, Tom, thank you for dropping by with the raid, my friend. I appreciate you, and Piper. Y'all have a wonderful one. I'll catch you around. All an issue of intention and perception. Whether the intentions were good or not, the result in is what matters. That's true. Have there been any more server meshing tests? Nope. They haven't even been using the preview channel. But I mean, now, don't get me wrong. I am disappointed with the fact that we haven't been using the tech preview channel. I think it's quite weird after all the talk about it that we haven't gotten to use it. But I don't think that them not using that would delay them going to Evocati, right? Like, the use of the tech preview channel, in my opinion, means that they're testing something well before it's ready to come out. I wouldn't believe that they still are required to use the preview channel before they can send 4.0 to the Evocati phase. I think that they would just say, okay, we didn't use it, our plan's screwed up, let's just go to Evocati with it. There is a hint with the progress tracker having work planned for some of the 4.0 cards until the second week of October. Accuracy of the progress tracker aside. That's tight. Accuracy of the progress tracker aside. That's a big one. That's a big caveat. But we have, you know, speaking of the progress tracker, we've seen it definitely run its course past the point of certain things getting delivered. I don't know if I could pull up any of those things. See, I think, yeah, additional derelict settlements. If we pulled that up, that might actually show let's see, when did the derelict settlements come in? I think we got them in 3.22, right? Or was it 3.20? Yeah, the new derelict settlements were here. I don't think they added anything in 23. So these were released in, December 23. That actually matches up. So that's not a good example. Let's see if we can find a different one. UGFs, underground facilities. No, those came in 23. Oh my god, there's so much stuff on here. Outpost Homestead. EU Sandbox. Mission features. Retrieve consignment. 3.21, no. New player experience, that's, I guess that kind of works, right? This came out in 3.19, but they still had scheduled work for it going all the way up to the end of last year, which was 3.22 time. That kind of shows the point that they'll have scheduled work that goes past when it comes out, because it might have to just do with other parts of it, little updates that they're throwing in with it. But that's still not even the greatest example of that. This thing is so confusing now that they've archived all this stuff. When we talking about the Idris? It does show planned work, yeah. No, I get what you're saying. The progress tracker, just because it has a feature ending at a certain time doesn't mean that feature won't be in the game before then. But I'm honestly not really finding any good examples of that right now. Montreal Sandbox team. Orville Cityscape. Wow, was that last year? No, that was... Lorville Cityscape was 2 years ago, wasn't it? Holy crap, that was last year? Wow. Time, huh? You know what? I'm not finding anything from this. there's too many things that are like, I can't remember when specific things came out. New missions from Orison. I guess no, this is that was a 3.18 release. Right after the patch we don't talk about. Good old 3.18. New player experience again. Aero space stations. Vehicle content. What's my CitizenCon wish list? I don't even know. I just want server meshing to be in the game, man. That's all I really care about at this point. I want to know more about, I guess, reputation. I would love to hear more about reputation. That's always a good thing. But even now we're not getting the reputation stuff we heard about from last year, so don't know about that. Maybe more of the control surfaces and hover mode development. And economy. Definitely economy stuff. Star Sim. Getting an idea of how that's going to work. Something updated on that would be really good. Also, it'd be great if they talked about the air and halo belt gates to see if those are still going to be a thing. Yeah, I've got nothing here. Huh? Whoa, what? Somebody... Ah, Gloom Gun. What the hell, man? Ah! 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 I didn't even see it coming out here with shoot me. Rude. Them not using the tech preview channel could be a good sign in that they have all the info they need to build in dev branch for 4.0. Yeah, but like, what about us? We want fun things. Does anyone really believe anything they put in the progress tracker? Well, I'm looking at it because of, to show the inconsistency of the progress tracker. But yeah, you probably shouldn't believe the scheduling stuff that's on here. Just the fact that the stuff is on here, that's really all that matters. And I'm kind of overlooking for these things because I haven't found it. Let's just say I'm wrong. And one of the ISCs this year, didn't they double down on 4.0 will be this year? Yeah, they doubled down on it will be in the next few months as of July. Yeah, flak ammunition was on there, plasma ammunition's on there, incendiary ammunition. All of those, I think, are squadron kind of things. It'd be nice to hear about the Nyx system, too. If the jump gates are gone, you can't see the air and halo belts being built, but those are definitely different reasons for those. The jump gates are gone because of a whole lore thing. The air and halo belts could still be there for the economy stuff. Jock Cop, you'd like a list of features that make up 1.0 and an announcement of the first 5 systems for 1.0? I would like that. I would love to be able to set my expectations for 1.0, yeah. How much to get a Nickelodeon style slime? Oh my gosh. I forgot all about that. Can you believe there was a show where we just dumped what looked like a melted polymer on some children when they couldn't answer a question correctly? Don't believe anything till you see it? Yeah, definitely that. Tracker shows work, not release. The tracker doesn't even show work, let's be honest. Like, even if the tracker showed that this team was working from April until August on this, it doesn't even show when that team's taking breaks. These people could be completely out for the vacation month of May and we wouldn't know it. Because it's just so that they're scheduled to be working on it. They don't have to be working on it. There's so many cases of that on here. Where it's like, oh yeah, totally, our team's working on that. Yeah, right. Yeah, just check back in 9 months and we'll let you know if we actually did that. So, and that's what our whole that's what the The whole podcast is about this week. If you haven't caught it, it's on Space Tomato 2 or Spotify or Apple, wherever you listen to your podcasts. And we spend like a good 20 minutes talking about the reliability of this progress tracker and the roadmap and what you should get from it. Yeah, it's definitely an I don't know, Big D. Relay, you believe that 4.0 will come out very quickly after 3.24? You mean how do we do 4.0 without hangars and cargo? Well, I wouldn't say that means that it's going to come out. That more so says that 3.24 has to come out before 4.0, right? Yeah, Casa Black. Great talk. No, I like Casablanca. Stick with it. Working on it means open the file, look at it, close it. Not even open the file, just pull up your file explorer and be like, oh yeah, I remember that one. Let me click into the properties. See when the last time I edited this was. Going to trail test some new tires on your SUV. Sounds like fun. Have a good day, Luna Maria. Thanks for hanging out. Catch you around. Maybe the Zeus wasn't ready. Imagine they delayed 4.0 because the Zeus wasn't ready. I was going through the different places where they told us when 4.0 was coming out. This is one of them. Letter from the chairman, May of 2022. This is the letter from the chairman that basically inspired my most viewed video on my channel, which was wildly wrong. And it's like, it just stays up there at the top of my channel as a testament to stop trusting these dates, and I still don't learn. Here it is. With 4.0, we will get our second star system, Pyro, and we begin the process of adding more and more content, gameplay, and polish to get us to beta. Now, I think that they just renamed beta to Star Citizen 1.0, to be honest. For all of us at CIG, server meshing in 4.0 represents taking that next big leap to populating the verse with the promise of content and gameplay that will turn Star Citizen into the rich, living universe that exceeds the promise we set before us those many years ago. Our current goal is to introduce server meshing in 4.0 in an early technical preview to Evocati testers in PTU at the end of Q4 of this year. So they were only like, what, 15 months behind? We are aiming for the end of Q1 of 2023 to get server meshing into the PTU or into live. We really will not know with confidence until it hits testing. Well, here we are. So you expect a progress tracker that includes their holidays and whatnot breaks? No. No. Don't put words in my mouth. I definitely did not say that I expect them to put their holidays in it. What I said, you can rewind, was that the holidays are not included in it. So you cannot rely on it to tell you when they're working. I didn't say there's anything wrong with that. I'm saying there is wrong with us expecting it to mean that they're working. It's a distinct difference. They don't have to put their holidays in there, but we should also not expect that to mean that they are working on it that whole time. And that's a mistake I made in the beginning. That's a mistake I think plenty of people made in the beginning, and that's something that it took a little while for me to realize. A bunch of flipped tabletop games and scorched figurines better. Hey man, Jesus taught me that flipping tables gets work done, okay? Top videos on your channel is random recordings you made of car exhaust noise ones. Hey, I've got one of those on my personal channel. I recorded my car when I first installed the exhaust, and it got Way more views than I expected. You're curious if they'll have a beta version before going to 1.0? I think 1.0 is their beta. In this day and age, you can basically launch a game as beta. We'll figure it out after post. Fix it in post. Although it's debatable whose mistake that is, putting something online without accuracy sets expectations. I mean, I don't know what their whole thing says about it. It might be in their caveat that pops up when you roll up in here. It shows you what each team is working on for the quarter and their priorities after completing the immediate deliverables at hand. Keep in mind, this isn't necessarily when these items will be completed, simply when the work on them is scheduled to finish out by that team specifically. For the progress tracker view, we're giving you 4 quarters of visibility into each team's development. The further out you project, the more fluid the work is and the less committed the schedule. So they don't mention that it's not necessarily the time worked, it's just the time, well... Yeah, no, it says it shows you what each team is working on. It should probably say it shows you what each team is scheduled to work on to catch that expectation. Words, though, like, how many people even read that? I think that might be the second or third time I've ever read this. You'd love to know what their current plans are for game loops like exploration and science, even if it's subject to many changes. I think the exploration takes a little bit of piecing together, but they've kind of explained it. It's very intertwined with data running. Filling out maps, surveying planets, finding points of interest, those kinds of things. Oh yeah, they did want to do that year-long development of the Zeus. I want to make a video once the Zeus comes out that just covers the entire process of building a spaceship, from concepts and white box and drawings all the way out to the spaceship being finished. I hope they give us more of like the early sketches of the Zeus. That'd make that more entertaining. We did hear that the Polaris will come out by IAE. Do you think that will still happen? I do. I think if there's one place where they're pretty good at staying on schedule, it's the ship teams. But if 4.0 is not out by IAE, they might not do the Polaris. So that could also depend on that. Not sure the Zeus is tied to CitizenCon. I don't know. I don't even think it would be worth going by what they said about the Zeus at CitizenCon last year, because clearly their internal schedules have changed. Not for everything, just for the Zeus, I mean. Like for what they said about ships.
Were mentioned earlier.
And out a little easier. So with white box, not the prettiest stage in the process, but it is.
See, I like that we have white box, but I would really like to see drawings and concept art. I don't know. I wonder if they'd be willing to. I gotta message somebody about if they'd be willing to put that in like the jump point or the subscriber vault or something.
Essential that we nail this, because it means we'll be able to deliver a beautiful ship that is also extremely fun to play.
So that was the RSI Zeus in the 3 variants. Obviously, as the screen says behind me, it's available now on the Star Citizen website. You all follow that URL or the QR code.
I hear available now, and I'm like, wait, what? They were talking about putting it in game, and he's like, on the Star Citizen website. Right. Available now, Star Citizen version.
Behind me. Now, we've just talked.
Did they not talk about when they wanted to release it here? We bought that so fast. This is an earn-in game for me. I think it's a great ship. I'm probably going to keep the C1 as my daily driver. This seems like something I would get if I was bringing a friend along. Or at least going into a place that's a little more dangerous. But Zeus is a cool ship, especially the Clipper. Holy crap, the Clipper seems like it's so powerful. At the beginning. Internet, what are you doing?
The first ship that was kind of available to the mass market, Explorer. Now, it was a really good thing. All good. The original RSI Zeus. That being said, there's always it's kind of had this. I'm kind of very happy to announce today that RSI have kind of taken that challenge on board.
So yeah, that's the current. Let's talk about something a bit further in the past. So, we have a timeline here from the today, all the way through to today in game, and throughout that time period, we have our manufacturers in law, starting with RSI in the very near future.
This is a solid
going
timeline.
all the way
I forgot they
through,
showed this.
To Mirage.
Not all the companies are on here though. I think CNOU is like right here. They're really they were like 30 years old, I think, by the time the game starts.
Which is this year in game. And over that, we have some very old ships, ships that people think are quite old. We have the Hornet, we have the Aurora, and we have the Gladius. However, as you can see, there is quite a gap from the current day to these old ships. So let's talk about one that is a bit
Not to mention the 100 other ships in the game that could fit on this timeline.
older than that. So, the RSI Zeus.
So, in 2130, in 2130, RSI made some major kind of advancements in quantum technology. They developed, or they released, the first ship that was kind of available to the mass market that had quantum capability. This kind of mid-range explorer really put RSI at the kind of forefront of ship development. Now, it was a really good thing, it really kind of boosted them as a company, but it wasn't kind of for issues with its.
Okay, this is all lore.
Had that challenge designed, and our current ship.
RSI Zeus Mark II. Okay then. Here it is. So.
Got that Space Dorito vibe, doesn't it?
We are going to hand over to Elwin and Mark to go through this, and you can see there's 3 of them there.
Anvil does not have a copyright on the Space Doritos.
These 3 ships now. So, over to Mark and Elwin.
Around 12:10.
Let's give them a welcome. Come on, let's go, let's go.
This one also features 3 size 2 shield generators, and like Al mentioned, it has a size 3 tractor beam to make it much easier to get those cargo containers in and out as you're actually playing. What do you think?
I mean, it's a ship. What do you think they think?
So...
this one. Where is this version? I wonder what the SC is supposed to be, besides the obvious, of course. It'd be really interesting if this was like what Crusader does with their M series of ships. You think it's scrapped? That'd be too bad. A personal armed combat variant would be pretty cool. That's what I hoped. Like, wouldn't it be awesome if there was an M1 Crusader Spirit that was just focused on having a little bit extra armor on it, maybe an extra turret? That could be what this is.
Last year, we introduced the Spirit. And if anyone that may be playing on their live for the last couple of days might have seen a new ship added to the verse, the A1. We hope to follow a similar route with the Zeus, where we announce it today, and then in about a year's time, hopefully it'll be ready to reveal to the public to actually play with. But this isn't just a concept. We're not just going to show you some images. The Zeus is actually in active white box development right now. Do you just want to have a look? Shall we? Okay.
Your grandkid's gonna install a nursery, or not a nursery. God, what is it called? The old people home in your Javelin for you. I don't even remember what it's called.
But before any of them get to that point, they have to go through a very specific development process, and this is the first.
Oh, is that? Did I completely miss where you said in about a year's time? I thought they talked specifically about it following the same timeline as a Spirit.
It'll be ready to reveal to the public to actually play with. And then in about a year's time, hopefully, the route with the Zeus where we announce it today and the year one. Live the last couple of days.
Okay.
Might have seen a new ship adding to the verse, the year one. We hope to follow a similar route with the Zeus where we announce it today.
Okay, yeah, got it.
And then in about a year's time, hopefully, it'll be ready to reveal to the public.
Sorry, I was too starstruck with the ST. So yeah, in about a year's time, like they wanted it to basically follow about a year of production, which is about what the C1 did, which I think is decent. I feel like as they get closer and closer to some kind of 1.0, they should probably not reveal a ship any more than 6 months before it comes to the game.
All right, so as you guys have seen with the Spirit and with the many ships we've released thus far, our ships can, when they're finished, look absolutely gorgeous. But before any of them get to that point, they have to go through a very specific development process, and this is the first stage in that process. We call this white box. At this point, we've taken the concept, ripped it to shreds, and then reassembled it and plugged it all back together within the editor so that we can get a real good look at what players are going to see when they finally get this game. At this stage, with the Zeus,
No, I think this ship's pretty much done.
thrusters, we
Like,
ripped out the landing.
besides the technical aspects, the engineering, sorry if anybody wanted to watch the rest of that video. Just look at this. This is the most recent look we've gotten at it, and it's basically
an ambitious game.
It's
Whichever
look at
way it
this.
ends up going, that becomes your favorite because you work on it more and it comes to life. And then once we
Right, gray box, white box, whatever it is.
have that kind of feedback after the
In engine. Like they've got this thing, at least on the exterior, it's looking basically done. They might still need to work on their LOD details and the close up lighting and sound and stuff like that. But I imagine if they're able to get it into the ISC episode for filming, then at least on the exterior, they're going to be close to lighting and damage states and everything within the next couple months, which would be in time for CitizenCon or so, or IAE. I don't know. I don't remember what they last said on the monthly report, but we should have a monthly report next week that'll get us caught up on this. Did they remove the window on the side? Window on the side.
I mentioned earlier. Obviously, as you
gear.
Here? No, there's a window here, if that's what you're talking about. Doesn't look like there was anything else planned along the side of the ship.
the first week, we'll have more of a direction and we
It looks freaking good, though.
might push forwards with a couple of designs and work a couple up a bit more. Then after another week or two, we'll
Midship.
ends up going, that becomes your favorite because you work on it more and it comes to life.
You might, maybe it's still there. This is the MR. This isn't the ES, so different ships, you can see that it transitions
And
when
then
it
once we
goes
have
to in-game.
that kind of
Because the MR is not actually done yet. So it might be that the MR does have that spot on the side there. Right here? Yeah. So that might be what you're seeing. I don't know. Oh, all my music's done. Any more questions for this lovely day, folks? We've been going at it. Holy crap. Just 3 hours of talking. Maybe it's an aesthetic hole, like the hammerhead. That's what I call my ear. My aesthetic hole. Gross. How do you get the shirt I'm wearing? Dude, I'm pretty sure this is on the store. This is business Tomat. He's got his phone in his briefcase. It's good stuff, man. He means business. Nothing that I can answer. Well, it's always fun to flounder around or ask the question back to you guys. No, I'm just burning time. Like I said, Mrs. Tomato's got company. I'm just chilling with you guys, hanging out. It was shown from the interior at one point. Either way, you hope it's still there. Oh, okay. I see. You're talking about the that little tour they did of the interior. What am I drinking? I don't know. Mrs. Tomato brought me some wine. I think it's a Pinot Grigio, but I can't be sure. How long do I think I'd survive in a zombie apocalypse? Depends on where I am. If I was out here, I think I could make it pretty far, because we're in such a low population area. We're pretty remote, and we've got access to boats. If I was back where I'm from in California, that'd be a little more difficult. What kind of drugs do I think Chris takes before CitizenCon speeches? Advil for the pounding headache that all the opium causes. What's the lore behind Avatar Tomato, and are there plans for him? Avatar Tomato? Like the tomat? The real tomat? He is a badass motherfucker, and he does not take any answers as no. He takes names and drugs and earns his money in the most illegal ways possible. Personally, I don't mess with him. Alright, I just put him on my shirt. He handles the YouTube channel. Yeah. Opposite of me, man. He holds things down. I'm just kind of here to provide the pretty face and the entertainment. But his glorious round red body is what really takes the cake. Oh, we didn't even go over this, huh? Where they talked about the Squadron 42 stuff. You guys have heard enough about this already. What I'm excited most about this is the new missions. New missions introducing engineering gameplay into the persistent universe, first appearing in Pyro's outposts. Players will be tasked with going to the location and fixing wind turbines, relays, moisture extractors, and solar panels. This is done by repairing pipes with your multi-tool, charging batteries with the new charge and drain feature, or replacing broken components in the networks that are broken or missing. I like this because it feels like it's building on engineering being more than just power management. It's also like patch jobs, it's fuse changing, it's charging and draining stuff. There's more to it than just the bare engineering we've seen, which is nice. Predictions for the best in show winner? It's the C1 Spirit, of course. Ain't nobody beating the Spirit, come on now. Is Mrs. Tomato gonna make a cookbook? I hope so. She makes some dang good food, and the world will be remiss without knowing how to make it again. No, Reclaimer beat the Fury. Did not lose to the Turtle. I wonder what's been happening to the... How much is the Sealand getting beat? It looks like it's getting clobbered by the F8. Yeah, it's a 3-1 vote already. How sad. Hard to write a cookbook when you don't measure stuff? Nonsense. Plenty of cookbooks say just do this to taste. That's just how it works. That's how you do. Recommend watching BuzzCut Cycle video on the multi-crew and engineering busy work. Check it out. There's a lot of really good potential for the engineering stuff and being able to just have people on board your ships that are doing things. I think there's a lot of potential for people who don't want to fly spaceships in this game, to be honest. How many ships in game right now can jump across Pyro and back? And how will we refuel? Well, it would have been nice if we had fuel beacons in this game. Would have been real nice. But unfortunately, it's I guess you're just gonna have to use the refueling depots or the little outposts around the verse, and you're gonna have to plan well. Like, don't fly across Pyro, because that'll leave you kind of out with no help. The F8's in game. It's just not viable in game. Everyone wants to be the pilot and the main guy. I don't. I think there's a decent amount of people who don't want to be the pilots. I personally don't want to fly the ship. Ghost, you don't want to fly? I don't want to fly. I want to be crew. I want to be somebody who's doing more stuff on their own 2 feet than sitting in a chair flying a ship around. That's not why I joined Star Citizen. Brigadier, you prefer to be crew? Check this out. I have a video about this. I feel like I should have like a toes. What's it called? I should have like a sound bite for that. I have a video about this. Because I do. Let's see if it pops up if you search Space Tomato solo players. It does not. Oh, it does. Look at this. Obviously including for some overlap, the majority. Look at how many people in these polls did not want to be pilots. Or at least wanted to only pilot 50% of the time. 2.2 thousand votes. Only 12% of people said they wanted to pilot as much as possible. 5.3 thousand votes. Only 629 of those people said they wanted to always be the pilot. And Twitter is small game. But 445 votes, only 7.6% said they wanted to pilot all the time. So it's not as common as you'd think. A lot of people do want to run crew at least somewhat. And most people want to run it 50% or less or more of the time. There's no point in building all this gameplay out in the game if people just want to fly ships all the time. You enjoy flying yourself around, but you're not a good pilot. When with friends, you want to be crew. There's also the fact that right now is the most common time for people to want to fly. From here on, they're mostly adding gameplay for people not flying the ships. So it's kind of, I think it's skewed still, and it will only get more and more balanced as we go on. But I think that's about it for today, folks. I'm going to call it. It's been a good one. We did so much talking, so much discussion. This was a fantastic look into Star Citizen, what's going on with it right now. Current news, current plans, all the jazz, all the things. And I think maybe I'll put together something short and small about the whole 12 months goal, because clearly there's a lot of misunderstanding there from what Chris said, and it's worth clearing it up a little bit and maybe setting expectations a bit based on what we're going to see for the rest of the year, because a lot of people think that this stuff is supposed to be coming by CitizenCon, and while it might still not make it by the end of the year, it's not like they're missing their goal if it does come by the end of the year. So I hope they can get 4.0 out this year. I really hope they can get it out at least to the Open PTU by CitizenCon. I think that's very unlikely, but still a possibility. And depending on what happens after 3.24 goes live, we will have to see if it works out or not. But thank you all for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed yourself. Hope you had a good time. Definitely make sure to go check out the podcast episode from this weekend, because we talked a lot about the delays and 4.0 and the progress tracker and all that. And I think there's a lot of good info in there with Casa Black. And keep an eye out for a video coming out over the next few days about my expectations for 4.0 towards the rest of the year. Last question, what's one single thing you're most hyped about for in 4.0? Star Sim. We'll see if they bring it up and talk about it. Even if they do, we'll see if it seems at all likely. But who knows? You never really know what's going to happen. Anyways, folks, have a wonderful day. Love you all. Eat something yummy. Give somebody a hug. Treat yourself today. Have a good one. And I will catch you all on Wednesday. Bye-bye.